You hit snooze, but not today. St. Louis, Missouri.
Rock Chalk Jayhawk. This is Kansas Jayhawk football from Learfield.
For an emergency or disaster? Because it's not a matter of if, but when. Don't find yourself saying,
when the storm rolls in, my time to find a pet-friendly evacuation center will have run out.
The scorching heat wave will leave me powerless to cool my insulin.
I'll face a hurricane without meds. Now that's a tough pill to swallow.
Let's prepare so we all have a better story to tell. Get started at ready.gov/older adults. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
This is your captain. We are going to be experiencing some slight turbulence. Please fasten your... Oh, hold on. Just got a video of my cat.
Imagine the pilot of an airplane was as confident as you are texting and driving. Seems kind of crazy when you put it like that.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Devin Neal with his 11th rushing touchdown of the season and 44th career rushing touchdown is into the end zone to give Kansas a 7-0 lead. What an impressive drive, David Lawrence. 84 yards on 10 plays. They only had to face third down once, and that was a 3rd and 1. So they were operating ahead of schedule the entire time and, quite frankly, just marched it right down BYU's throat.
Yeah, 8.4 yards per play, 15 yards per pass completion. And the great linebackers we talked about, especially Glasgow, Taggart, and Kelly, I mean, they were quiet on that one. I think, again, the pre-snap eye candy showing misdirection at the snap and having so many different effective options with Jalen Daniels doing the option, handing it to Neal, handing it to Highshaw, doing a little jet sweep action, doing the quick skinny post to Lawrence Arnold. I mean, everything very effective, and you could get the sense that BYU defense wasn't ready for any of it.
Jalen Daniels, by the way, has just eclipsed 500 career completions. There's only one other quarterback in the history of Kansas football with more than 500 completions. Pretty easy guess or answer to that trivia question, Todd Reesing, who owns just about every passing record there is. Kansas to kick it away with Tabor Allen from the 35-yard line. High end-over-end kick will go over the head of the BYU return team and out the back of the end zone, landing just to the left of the B in BYU's. The Cougars will take it at the 25-yard line, trailing 7-0. Crowd trying to come back alive after a right hook to the jaw delivered by the Kansas offense. B-Mac, there was a lot of belief on that Jayhawk sideline even before this thing kicked off, but I bet they're really walking tall right now, 6 minutes into this game.
Yeah, there is a quiet confidence and belief that's definitely found their rhythm.
Logan Brown's a tough guy to miss if he's vacated that blue medical tent. Do us a favor, keep an eye on Brown, and let's see if we can get an update here in the next couple of minutes.
Perfect.
BYU's drive begins at the 25-yard line. Chin high snap, and they'll hand it off on the ground, and Kansas right there immediately. J.B. Brown there in a heartbeat to take down L.J. Martin. So no gain on the carry, 2nd and 10 coming up, and that quiet confidence is turning into loud confidence on the field for the KU defense.
Yeah, because right after seeing Kansas average about 6 yards per carry, you see Martin going right into the teeth of our defensive line for nothing. So love the start early on. I get it, okay, but just reason to feel that this Kansas team has really come to play, and they've started out very effective.
L.J. Martin averages 2.5 yards per carry in Lawrence a year ago on 11 attempts. Back to pass and throwing one this time. It's caught out to the 37-yard line is Retzloff. He hooked up with Darius Lassiter, son of the late, great Kwame Lassiter. The pass was behind him, a little off the mark, but a great adjustment to make the catch, and that'll be BYU's first down of the game, a gain of 13.
Yeah, it was a bad pass, but Lassiter showed his athletic ability and reached behind him, was able to come up with that ball, and it was thrown with high velocity, so it made it even more difficult. But we know those Lassiter guys, they're pretty tough and they're skilled athletes.
No doubt. Of course, his dad not only starred at Kansas, but 3 NFL teams. Here comes pressure. Down goes Retzloff. Dean Miller comes surging in around the right side and rips him to the ground. It's a sack for Kansas and a loss of 4 for the Cougars.
Yeah, right now, 2 of the 3 plays, Kansas has owned the line of scrimmage. Retzloff just goes back, and Dean Miller was right on him and pulled him down just below his waist. He just destroyed the block of the left tackle, and Etienne, who's the left tackle, he's been the surprise of this team, but he was hardly able to catch any part of Dean Miller on that attempted block.
It's 5.5 sacks now for Dean, tying Robinson for the team lead. They sling it out left side on second down, caught by Lassiter up to the 39-yard line, so they get back the yardage they lost on the sack and maybe 1 more yard. 3rd and 9 coming up. Davis on the stop for the Kansas secondary.
And it was an immediate stop by Taylor Davis. Did a good job, but this is a key 3rd down. Kansas subbing late here. See if they get everyone on the field. I think they have to allow us to do that and get some pressure on Retzloff.
BYU brings Hill in motion. Now they could be changing the play. Still 13 seconds on the play clock as Retzloff comes up to center and barks out a new play call. 4 receivers set, 3rd down and 9. Jayhawks showing blitz. Back to pass is Retzloff. Plants, fires, deep ball down the right sideline and on a completely different page as his receiver. It's going to fall incomplete. Mello Dotson was deep on the coverage that time. They were looking to go 45 yards downfield in the direction of an intended target that, like I said, just was not there. It was Keelan Marion he was looking for. He turned left thinking the ball was going to be over his front shoulder. Instead, it was to the right sideline and not even close on the attempt.
Yeah, Marion runs a post, and Retzloff was throwing a corner route. So, as you mentioned, different pages, and Kansas defense gets off of the field.
BYU set to punt it away. It'll be Luke Grimm deep to receive, standing back near the 20. High end over end kick, and Grimm comes up on it, calls for a fair catch, and makes that play at the 17-yard line. That's where the Jayhawks will take it. But a nice job by the Kansas defense. They see just 1 first down, then force a punt. And BYU, with Sam Vanderhaar punting it away there, will set up shop for Kansas back near the 17-yard line following a punt of 44 yards.
One drive each for these teams. 8.4 yards per play for Kansas, 2.8 yards per play for BYU.
6:10 to go here in the first quarter. 7-0 Kansas on the Equity Bank Jayhawk Sports Network from Learfield.
Just like Lance Leipold and his coaching staff place their best players in the right positions for success, so does the Brush Group with our multi-company marketing team of Sun Graphics, Dunleavy Litho, and Brush Art Corporation. Sun Graphics is the proud printing partner of Kansas Athletics and is known for marketing support that is nothing short of exceptional. Make sure you're scoring a touchdown with all your marketing efforts by contacting Sun Graphics today, proud sponsor of Kansas Athletics.
Check, check, and check. That's the sound of me getting a jump start on my holiday list. But I can't take all the credit. Kohl's makes it too easy. I got my daughter a mini instant camera, my husband his favorite cologne, my sister Kookaburra by UGG slippers, and that's just the beginning. Then I got 20% off some of my other gifts. Yep, it doesn't get better than Kohl's. Select styles. Offer valid to November 23rd. Coupons do not apply to Tech, Sephora at Kohl's, and Kookaburra by UGG. Some exclusions apply. See store or kohls.com for details.
This is Kansas Insurance Commissioner Vicki Schmidt. Success on game day starts with doing your homework. Investing is no different. That's why you should visit smartinvestks.com, an investor empowerment initiative from the Kansas Insurance Department. Whether you are just coming off the bench or are a seasoned pro, smartinvestks.com is here to coach you on how to avoid investment fraud by chalking up the offensive and defensive X's and O's. Have a game plan before you invest. Visit smartinvestks.com. That's smartinvestks.com.
This is Orange Bowl champion Todd Reesing, and you're listening to Kansas Jayhawk football on the Jayhawk Sports Network.
Just referencing the Texas gunslinger, he'd be mighty proud of Jalen Daniels and the run he's been on of late. JD in the last month, one of the highest rated quarterbacks in the entire Power 4 conferences. In fact, this past week, the number 1 rated quarterback with a 91.8 QB rating. He was outstanding. That quarterback grade topped every single major conference quarterback. And BMAC, he had a lot of first half drives of 70-plus yards a week ago and already one here tonight.
Yeah, 4 70-plus yard touchdown drives in the first half. This team has shown that they can run the ball pretty consistently, push the ball pretty consistently. JD has a passing touchdown and a rushing touchdown in the last 4 games.
Yeah, he's got a rush for 5 yards, and he's 3 for 3 throwing the football for 44 yards. Devin Neal, 4 carries, 26 yards. Sevion Morrison has 8 yards on a carry, and Highshaw gets 1 carry as well.
Kansas averaging 5.7 yards per rush. That opening drive went 10 plays and 84 yards. Now they'll have to travel 83 yards as this drive begins on the 17-yard line. 1 back on each hip of Daniels, who's in shotgun formation. Now Devin Neal takes off to the right flat. 5-step drop. Daniels slings it out to Neal. Caught near the 14-yard line, puts on a juke move and dives across the 20, out of bounds toward the right sideline near the 21-yard line. Give him a gain of 4. It'll be 2nd and 6 for Kansas. And Neal, by the way, on that touchdown run, fell backwards into the end zone and landed on one side of his jersey in that blue painted end zone. So his white jersey on one side is completely blue now because of that trip to pay dirt.
Yeah, it was a check down receiver to get 4 yards off of that. That's a positive, and it's that great linebacker, Glasker, that made the stop.
Option play. They pitch it back on a reverse to Luke Grimm. BYU's right there, though, and Grimm forced out of bounds back near the 20. They'll lose a yard. Great pursuit that time, and BYU was not fooled on the misdirection. The reverse actually loses a yard for Kansas.
Yeah, we've shown this a lot and been effective most every time that we've done this play. So BYU certainly made it a point of emphasis to get ready for this, and actually Luke probably should have made a cut up inside of that, as the tight end Casey could not get the hook block because it was too wide.
7-0 Jayhawks, 4:58 to go here in the first quarter. KU is 1 for 1 on 3rd downs today. Trips to the left, 5-step drop. JD looks right side. He wants Arnold. The ball's there, but incomplete. He came back to try to make the catch. Unable, though, to haul it in. And it looks like there's an injury to Lawrence Arnold at the end of the play. He's down on the 44-yard line, flat on his back, staring upward.
Offensive player.
And a member of the BYU staff, their medical staff, is actually tending to him right now as Kansas has to run across the field to look at their own player. BMAC, did he hit his head hard falling down after trying to make that catch?
Yeah, I wouldn't speculate necessarily that it was his head because he seemed to be reaching towards his low back as well, but it was definitely due to contact with the ground.
Yeah, it was Bamba, the cornerback, that turned around and defended it. And then you can see LJ, he's holding his lower back or upper hip as Bamba kind of fell back on him as he defended the pass. And it doesn't look like his head snapped back, so I definitely think it's a low back situation or even in the hip that KU is looking at.
In the meantime, let's check on the first Jayhawk to get injured earlier tonight, right tackle Logan Brown. BMAC, what do you have?
Yeah, he's working out. Looks like they taped that right ankle and braced the right knee. He might have had injuries to both, but they are now checking both. He's kind of testing both out and just went back to the locker room. I'll have an update when he comes out.
Well, he left the field, did Logan Brown, putting pressure on that leg. Right now, Lawrence Arnold is hobbling in immense pain and is laboring much, much more. And bless his heart, he has to go from one far sideline all the way across the field to the other and is moving at a turtle's pace right now, just 6 inches at a time, being helped by 2 members of the medical staff of Kansas. This does not look good, whether that's a hip or something lower back. He would be in the highly questionable and maybe even doubtful category with the degree of pain and difficulty and even moving right now, David Lawrence, for Lawrence Arnold.
Yeah, LJ had the 10-yard reception earlier. I'm watching him. He's getting a little bit better as he gets there. I wouldn't count this Hetty senior out. This game means a lot to him. And if it's possible to come back from that low back pain, LJ will.
Finally gets across to the Kansas sideline, and Kansas will have to punt it away. Damon Greaves, the Australian punter, standing back inside the 10-yard line. Jayhawks lead at 7-0, 4:47 to go here in the first quarter. BYU has a couple of big plays on special teams this year. 2 kick return touchdowns, 1 punt return touchdown. And they're going to get great field position regardless here as they're set to return this one from back near the 35-yard line. It's Kingston awaiting the punt, but this one goes way out of bounds to the right, and let's see where they mark it off. No chance of a catch as it was heading dead right, and they're going to have great field position as they mark it all the way up to the 43-yard line of BYU.
And you don't know if that's in the game plan to punt it deep and out of bounds, because when you do that, it just makes it difficult to get all the length out and then have it roll out of bounds. So BYU is going to come up fortuitous because of this punt exchange. They'll get the ball at the 43.
7-0 Jayhawks, 4:41 to go here in the first half. First half action is brought to you by the Ameritrust Credit Union, the official financial well-being partner of Kansas Athletics. Proudly serving Jayhawk fans and the Lawrence community. Federally insured by the NCAAF. And Bud Light is a proud sponsor of Kansas Athletics. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. We're in the first quarter. 4:41 to go in the first. 7-0 Jayhawks leading it. Thanks for staying up late with us here tonight. Going to be a great one. Kansas off to a terrific start, but BYU with excellent field position when we return. 1st and 10 from their own 43 on the Equity Bank Jayhawk Sports Network from Learfield.
Hey Jayhawk fans, it's Coach Leipold. Here at Kansas Athletics, we know success isn't accomplished alone. It's all about teams. That's why we are proud to team up with Ameritrust Credit Union, the official financial well-being partner of Kansas Athletics. Team Ameritrust knows that every play matters and every moment leads to a winning game plan. They have the resources you need to save, spend, borrow, and plan along your financial journey. Stop by a Ameritrust location today or visit ameritrustcu.org.
The home of Gale Sayers and John Riggins. This is Kansas Jayhawk football from Learfield.
LMH Health is pleased to announce that the Ortho Kansas team has earned another clinical milestone, the Joint Commission's Gold Seal of Approval for Advanced Total Hip and Knee Replacement Certification. The certification recognizes the highest standards of care during a total hip and total knee replacement, and LMH is one of 2 Kansas hospitals to earn this honor. Get to know the Ortho Kansas team by visiting lmh.org/Ortho Kansas. Ready to schedule an appointment? Give them a call at 785-843-9125. LMH Health, a partner for lifelong health.
Where are you going, and how fast do you want to get there? Whatever you have planned for your future, Midco is here to help make it a reality with fiber internet. Plug in to the Midco fiber network that is designed to deliver an ultra-fast, ultra-smooth, and ultra-reliable experience, giving you the freedom to work, stream, and download without the worry or the buffering. Go further, go faster, go beyond. Midco, let's go.
Could not have scripted a better start for Kansas through 2 possessions, one by the Hawks, one by BYU. The Jayhawks on their opening drive went 10 plays, 84 yards. Devin Neal, his 11th rushing touchdown of the year, 7-0 Kansas after a Tabor Allen extra point. Then the Jayhawk defense got a stop after only allowing 1 first down. Problem is, it was a good punt by BYU. Kansas did not muster a first down, David, and consequently, after the Jayhawks punt, BYU has great starting field position.
Yeah, that falls under the headlines of special teams, something I talked about, the exchange of punts. Should have put BYU back where they punted it, and that's just not the case. They have it at the 43, so they gained about 8 to 10 yards from the exchange. And let's see if this Kansas defense can carry on from that first drive.
The drive begins at the 43-yard line following a 37-yard punt by Greaves. High snap. Retzloff goes up to get it. Now 5-step drop and a deep ball thrown. They've got a man, but it's overthrown to Lassiter. That time Mello Dotson was beaten by at least a stride. Would have been a walk-in touchdown with a better ball, but that time just a little bit too much mustard on it from Jake Retzloff. He flat out missed Lassiter.
Yeah, Mello is lined up outside on another man, but he takes over for Lassiter, and that's what was the confusion of Mello as he started off covering another receiver, but then moved on Lassiter a little too late. Kansas fortunate.
BYU in the pistol, Martin behind the quarterback, Retzloff. 2nd and 10, option play. They pitch it to Martin, rushing right side, has a seam to midfield, puts his head down, and then tackled down out of bounds near the 45-yard line. A zone read that time, and a speed option run for L.J. Martin is the most daylight he's seen in 2 years versus Kansas. He didn't have any holes like that last year in Lawrence, and that particular play is going to be good for looking at 17 yards on the rush.
Well, Kansas forced the early pitch. It was Keenan Caldwell that forced it. So we were in a good situation, but Woodkey just could not keep up with Martin. So there's just a difference in the speed between Woodkey and Martin that got him that first down.
High snap on 1st and 10. Now a sidearm sling. They find the tight end, but Kansas right there. Taylor Davis on the tackle. They had to check it down that time to Tassé, the tight end. But as soon as he caught the football, Davis was ankle tackling and pulling him quickly to the turf. That'll be ultimately a loss on the play of 3 yards.
Yeah, and, big things happen to teams that, you get someone down with an injury and you bring in someone like Taylor Davis and he steps up to perform as well as he has. So that's what happens with good teams. You find someone to come in and you actually get better.
2 tackles for loss already for Kansas. Dean Miller had a sack earlier. 2nd and 13, they hand off to Martin. He's got a hole, cuts it back at the 40, dives down near the 38-yard line. Taylor Davis on the stop, but not before 10 yards from Martin. It'll be 3rd down and 3 for BYU, with Kansas leading 7-0 here late in the first.
No, you won't see number one overrun and miss a tackle many times, and that's exactly what JB did. He overran this play and then tried to come back, and it was too late as the offensive lineman was there to kind of block him, and that was their center, Pay, who's back from injury.
Connor Pay, a big re-addition to this BYU offensive line. 2nd, make it 3rd and a short 3. Big seam right behind right guard. He'll rush it along the right hash, pick up that first down and 4 more yards as well. L.J. Martin on 3rd and 3, nets 7. BYU cooking with gas down near the 30-yard line of Kansas.
Yeah, back-to-back plays where BYU has big gash openings on the cutback lane as they catch Kansas over pursuing. So it looks like it's going to be outside zone, and then he cuts back, and that time he made Wheeler miss. So Martin has made our 2 linebackers, Brown and Wheeler, miss on cutbacks on the last 2 plays.
7-0 Jayhawks, 1:45 to go in the first quarter. They'll hand it off on 1st and 10 from just outside the 30, and a very aggressive run is going to be upended by J.B. Brown. That's going to be Ropati, the 2nd-string running back, who had a full head of steam, got his shoulders square, but he was chopped down low and popped up high in the air, twirling around and going down aggressively on a hard hit by Brown.
Yeah, but BYU set the edge well. They're blocking us much better and more effectively on this second drive as they got a clear edge in blocking our defensive end or outside linebacker, and JB had to come from the other side to mop up.
2nd and 3, they'll hand it off on the 25 to the 20, 15, and down to the 13-yard line goes Moa, the 3rd-string running back. Again, a great hold up front, couple of missed tackles as well, and BYU is just outside the 10, down to the 12-yard line, taking what they want on the ground this drive.
Well, Kansas, they've done a good job of tackling in recent weeks, and they have missed tackles on most of the runs. Actually, there was 2 people that had opportunity on that play. So tackling comes in question, but again, when you go against good teams, it's harder to tackle. But I'm sure Brian Borland thinks it should be better.
Tight end motions from right to left. They give off again to the 3rd-stringer, Moa, and he'll rush it straight forward inside the 10, down near the 9, gaining 3. On this drive, Martin has a 12-yard rush, Ropati has a 12-yard rush, and Sione Moa has these last 2 carries, including one for 12 as well. So pretty impressive what they've done on the ground here on their second drive of the ball game. And the first quarter will expire with BYU inside the 10. They'll have 2nd and 7 from the 9-yard line of Kansas when we come back. Jayhawks in front 7-0.
Yeah, the Cougars have been attacking the outside, and many times will cut back and find some big cutback lanes open. So the Jayhawks will have to adjust.
Through the air, they've not been that impressive. Retzloff had the overthrow on what would have been a touchdown. He's 3 of 5 for just 14 yards at the end of one quarter. 7-0 Jayhawks, but the Kansas defense needs to clamp down when we return. Flex your fandom at Rally House with the latest University of Kansas apparel, headwear, and tailgate essentials. KU Game Day starts at Rally House. 7-0 Kansas at the end of one on the Equity Bank Jayhawk Sports Network from Learfield.
This year, we considered hiring an ad agency to help with our marketing.
They pitched impressive visuals and a script that was inspiring.
And exotic animal mascots to help grab your attention.
In the end, we just decided to tell it to you straight. Shelter Insurance has award-winning customer service at affordable rates.
Plus, our local agents are there to help you understand what coverage you need.
To find an agent near you, visit shelterinsurance.com and switch today.
Kansas Jayhawk football lives here.
Chalk it up, the Jayhawks win.
This is Kansas Jayhawk football from Learfield.
Comes to a gun suicide attempt, all it takes is a moment.
Heather and I had an argument just like any other couple. I was lost. I had snapped. I had a gun and I was going to take my own life. Heather helped me realize that there was still a life to live for the better of myself, my family. My weapon is now safely put away.
A moment of crisis can happen to anyone. Store your guns, locked, unloaded, and away from ammo. Hear more safe stories at endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by Brady and the Ad Council.
You say you never give in to a meltdown and never fill your feed with kid photos. You say you'd never put a pacifier in your mouth to clean it and never let them run wild through the grocery store. So when you say you'd never let them get into a car without you there, know it can happen. 1 in 4 hot car deaths happen when a kid gets into an unlocked car and can't get out. Never happens. Before you leave the car, always stop, look, lock. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to LaVelle Edwards Stadium in Provo. Kansas leading 7-0 as we get set to start the second quarter of play. But BYU driving right now. They'll have 2nd and 7 from the Kansas 9 when we resume action. The official game time temperature was 32 degrees. No longer any precipitation. It's just cold. But Kansas came prepared, David Lawrence. Tell me about the seat heat on the Kansas sideline.
Yeah, they bring it in from a company that brings it in anywhere that you want them to go, and it gets so warm that our players complain that it's too hot. It's 31 degrees outside right now. It's not expected to go any lower. Essentially, if we go to 11 p.m., it's going to get to 30 according to my forecast. So it's not going to get that cold out there, but the seat heat could burn the backside if you stay there too long. So they're getting plenty warm on the side, and all the players are electing to get over there. If they're not in the game, they're getting on the seat heat.
Yeah, what was the quote that Jason Ramirez, our football facilities manager, told you? Something about it'll burn your tail feather for any Jayhawk, right?
There you go, and you're ad-libbing on that. But I think his quote was a little funnier than that, but we can't really give that to you. But those guys, devoted people. And Charlie Bowen is one of the guys that drives the truck. And he had the interception to put BYU away when we met in '92 Aloha Bowl.
First meeting of now 3 meetings all time. 2nd and 7 from the Kansas 9. They will keep with the quarterback. Retzloff rushing left, and O.J. Burroughs is there, and he will escort him out of bounds for a loss of 1. He could never get to the edge. Could the quarterback Retzloff, and they will lose yardage now. 3rd and 8 coming up for BYU.
And that's what happens in goal line situations as Kansas tries to get O.J. into a run support situation. And that was off of a fake inside, and the linebackers went inside to Martin, and the quarterback, Retzloff, just took off and doesn't quite have the speed of Jalen Daniels, but O.J. caught him easily, and we got the tackle for a loss.
Empty set, 5 wide for BYU on 3rd down and 8. They could pick up a first at the Kansas 2. Here comes pressure. Retzlaff throws high, incomplete. Crowd wants a flag, but there will be none. It was Marvin Grant bringing the pressure around the edge. O.J. Burrows on the coverage, but a fastball sails high from Retzlaff, and it's field goal kicking time for Will Farron.
Well, how about the defensive play calling at the end? I mean, we had the great call getting Burrows up to the defense on the line of scrimmage, and then the pressure off of the edge. Clearly, it bothered Retzlaff in his pass. Great job by getting Marvin Grant up on the line of scrimmage on the outside blitz.
It'll be a 28-yard attempt for Farron, who's hit 85% of his field goals this year, including a 54-yarder at Baylor. But delay of game comes first. So
delay game, offense, 5-yard penalty.
It may be intentional because you're on the left hash. Kickers may prefer that. Or Kansas could turn that down.
They do not, so it'll be now a 33-yard attempt from the left hash. And there's a football that made its way out onto the field at the 47-yard line. The crowd's booing their visitors from Lawrence. That was one of the Jayhawks balls that went out there. So one of the poor ball boys had to be booed by 55,000 to run out and pick it up. Now Farron from 33 yards. Again, he's hit 17 of 20 kicks this year. Good snap, good hold. Kick on the way, and he got it. He's good for an 18th time this year. He's been very rock-steady solid as the junior out of Kaysville, Utah. So BYU scores for the first time today, but not nearly what they were hoping for. 11 plays, 42 yards. They have to settle for 3. Kansas remains in front, 7-3 at the 14-11 mark of the second quarter.
Yeah, Brian Borland, our defensive coordinator, credit his calls on 2nd and 3rd down, bringing the safety up into the box, the extra man that made the tackle on the quarterback, and then the outside pressure that forced the incompletion, and that saves us 4 points.
L.J. Arnold trying to get warm on that Kansas sideline and trying to get loose after that stinger to the hip or lower back area. Took him forever to get from one sideline to the other, really laboring. But as you said, David, give him some time. He's not going to want to come out of this game, and we'll see if he can be back in on this next drive despite the really obvious pain he was dealing with at the end of the previous catch attempt.
Now, LJ's a tough guy, and you don't see long sustained injuries. It's more chronic things with low back. I expect LJ to be back.
Jayhawks have Wilson and Emilion deep to return this kickoff. High end over end kick caught by Wilson 1 yard deep in the end zone. They'll take the touchback. And this will be far and away their best starting field position as they've had previous drives beginning at the 16 and the 17, this time the 25-yard line. As the BYU special teamers try to hype the crowd and get them re-engaged. 7-3 Kansas, 14-11 to go here in the half.
Now this scoreboard announcer kind of announced that they've got it running and get loud. So, and we have Logan Brown is back at right tackle. So great news. These offensive linemen, you can't keep them down. Cable do, Logan Brown, they're tough guys.
1st and 10 from the 25. They hand it off to Devin Neal running along the right hash. A solid 5 yards on 1st down. He's up to the 30. As we pause 10 seconds for station identification, you're listening to Jayhawk Football. Tyler Beatty on the tackle for BYU after a 5-yard pickup by Devin Neal. Now 5 carries, 31 yards, and a touchdown for real deal Devin Neal.
Bryce Foster, great block on that 1st down.
4 receiver set and a tight end as well. That tight end is Casey. He had the ball, then it was jarred loose and incomplete. Normally sure-handed. Casey's had some drops this year, and obviously there was a big hit there, but first 3 years of his career, David, he's hanging on to that ball. It's 3rd and 5 after the incompletion.
Yeah, and we've seen JD warming up while the defense is out there. for some reason, he didn't have much on that pass. And that he had the natural velocity in case he catches that without a problem before defense gets there.
Instead, it brings up a 3rd down and 5 instead of what would have been a 1st down right at the sticks. 3 receivers wide to the left. Daniels plants, fires. It's tipped and incomplete. Deflected at the line of scrimmage. Trevor Wilson, the intended target, but it came fluttering in like a broken-winged duck after the deflection, and that's a real quick 3-and-out by the Kansas offense. All the momentum right now wearing blue and white as Damon Greaves comes on to punt back at his own 15-yard line.
Yeah, this is a situation BYU wants to get you in. They bring 4, they get their hands up. I think it was Mangelson, they had his hand up. So Kansas will have to punt the ball away.
Parker Kingston averages 11 yards per punt return. High kick by Greaves. He comes up on it, calls for a fair catch, and makes it just across the 31-yard line. And that's where BYU will take it.
So we had an offensive lineman getting into a little verbal discussion that got emotional after that last play. You want to guess which one of our offensive linemen that was?
Kobe Baines.
That was indeed number 70. He stays in that game emotionally for sure.
Got a couple of guys named Kobe that have a little bit of swagger to them and a little bit of attitude out there. Of course, this time a year ago versus BYU, the other Kobe had a huge hit and a scoop and score fumble return touchdown. Let's see if he can make that happen again. The Kansas defense coming on the field, leading 7-3. 13-19 to go here in the first half for Provo on the Equity Bank Jayhawks Sports Network from Learfield.
I had this patient. His cancer treatment had him in the hospital for a while. One day we learned his grandson's prom was coming up, so secretly we arranged for him and his date to stop by. I'll never forget that night, the smile on my patient's face, the hug that didn't want to end. Sometimes I wonder if I'm doing all I can. Then I help make a moment like that happen, and I know I am.
The University of Kansas Cancer Center. Why would you go anywhere else?
This is Kansas Jayhawk football from Learfield.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
I'm a pretty great multitasker. I can wash dishes and do laundry. I can roller skate while walking my dog. I can even order lunch while doing my homework. But I can't use my phone while driving. A distracted driver is one of the leading causes of death in the United States. So when it comes to driving, please, don't be a multitasker.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
$13-19 to go here in the second quarter. 7-3, Kansas in front. The Jayhawks made a statement on their opening drive. 10 plays, 84 yards. Pretty much took what they want on that first possession. Since then, the BYU defense has bowed up a bit and forced a couple of Kansas punts. Cougars were able to travel 42 yards on 11 plays with a short field and settle for a field goal. But right now, momentum is clearly on BYU's side, even if the score is not.
Yeah, we haven't rushed the ball straight at, the reverse was a trick play, so I don't really look at that as a rush. But except for when we went against short yardage defense, when it was a 1-yard gain, we've rushed the ball and had tremendous success. So I look for Grimes to go back to what worked, and that was just rushing the football by Neal and Hishaw.
BYU's been rushing the football as well. They were much better on their last drive. They sling it out right side here in the right flat with blocking in front, and they're going to be able to pick up 9 on first down on a little right side of the field sling play to Marion. O.J. Burrows saved what would have been an even bigger play with an ankle tackle that time of Keelan Marion, whose father played football at Stanford. He's been one of their most productive guys. And he's got him at 2nd and 1 right now.
Well, Kansas brought pressure off the edge with Marvin Grant, But then Mello Dotson, after the play was completed, he was blocked. So BYU had that good play, but Kansas had the pressure with Grant, who could have easily tipped that.
2nd and 1, play action. They throw right side, caught by Lassiter. He's got the first, and he's up to the 48-yard line before he's gang tackled there. Davis and Dotson on the stop. But just a little pitch and catch that time for the 3rd reception of the day for Darius Lassiter.
Yeah, guess who BYU is attacking? They're going to Mello throughout this game. They have not gone, I can't remember once going to Kobe, but they've been on Mello, and Mello has been good on some plays, but he's also missed a couple of coverages.
Although Dotson, the nation's active leader in career pick sixes, 4 of them after the game sealer last week versus Iowa State. Fresh set of downs here for BYU. They're still throwing. Retzloff throws behind his receiver, and it's incomplete this time. He was looking in the direction of Chase Roberts, who's been their top pass catcher with 37 receptions on the year, but nothing thus far tonight, and that ball was clearly off the mark.
Yeah, Retzloff got away with a couple of bad throws with some good hands, and that one was just not close enough to get completed. Had good protection on that. And that was a catchable ball. After looking at the replay, thrown in there very hard, and maybe, this is because of the cold weather out there.
Puts them behind schedule. 2nd and 10 they give to Martin. Rushing left side, breaks a tackle, takes a Jayhawk with him. Kobe Bryant down to the 40-yard line. It's a gain of 11. Had 5 yards before contact, shook his way past one Hawk, and then gave Kobe a ride for about 4 or 5 yards after that.
Yeah, it was Cornell Wheeler and Taiwan Berryhill that got there and could not make the tackle. So again, is it cold weather? It's probably part of it. You got to credit the running back as well, because they're scholarship athletes, they're undefeated. But you don't normally see Cornell Wheeler missing 2 tackles early on.
No kidding. Martin did have a receiving touchdown in Lawrence, but otherwise he was stymied last year. That's not been the case today. They hand off again to Martin, rushing along the left hash. He'll take it forward for 3 yards before he's taken down there. 2nd and 7 coming up, but 5 carries, 40 yards to open this game for Martin, bulk of which on the previous drive, but he's really starting to get some momentum rolling here in the 2nd quarter.
Yeah, you see Berryhill in for J.B. Brown. B-Mac, do you see J.B. down there? Or do you think it's just giving him some reps off for rest?
Yeah, this looks rotational.
DJ Withers and Ronald McGee on that last stop. Potty's come in at running back for BYU. They fake the handoff. Deep drop, looking for a deep ball. Nobody's open downfield, so they check it down to the running back, Rapati, and running along the left sideline. He's inside the 35-yard line, down near the 33. He's going to be 3 yards shy, but picks up 4 yards on the catch and run, so 3rd and 3 coming up for BYU.
And that's what Retzloff does a good job with. I mean, we had great coverage down the field. He's doing all of his checkdowns. No one's open. It looks like we're going to sack him, but he immediately goes to the running back he knew he had on the sideline and check down to him. So it comes up with something, even though that we had great coverage down the field.
4 receivers set, 2 wide on each side. Retzloff in the gun on 3rd and 3. They're 1 for 3 on 3rd downs today. They pitch it out right side of Kingston. Can he get to the edge? He angles out of bounds near the sticks, and they're going to give him the full 3 yards. It was very close, but ultimately they give him 3, and it's a 1st down for BYU.
Yeah, Mello Dotson missed the tackle out there, not having the best game of his season early on. Mello, he sees this jet, he reacts to it, and he doesn't use his arms. He tries to make the tackle instead of just using the arms and let him fall forward. That's okay, let him fall forward a couple yards, but use your arms, get the sure tackle. Too many missed tackles so far. It hasn't really hurt Kansas on the scoreboard.
This next play was blown dead.
Under further review, going on the field that the line of gain was made.
They're going to take a closer look at where did he actually go out of bounds. If he's short at all, which our indication was he might be short, is he short by a full yard? We're looking at his right foot. The right foot on the far sideline appeared to be out of bounds while the ball was still a yard shy. BMAC, what did you see down there, and what do you see up on the video board right now?
Okay. I don't have anything up here yet, so, okay.
He was angling. His left foot may have crossed the first down mark. It did not look like the ball did. I think he'll be at a half-yard short.
If that's the case, it'd be 4th and less than a yard, David.
Yeah, and of course Kansas is good in short yardage defense. We don't really have that on our review up here.
We'll take a break as TV's taking one as well. Kansas leads 7-3, but BYU on the move. A crucial replay review decision when we return on the Equity Bank Jayhawks Sports Network from Learfield.
A true teammate takes on every day with a winner's attitude, gets up when they fall down, and leaves it all on the field. There's a group of teammates who do all these things every single day. But they're more than your typical athlete. They're kids dealing with unthinkable medical circumstances. Team Impact matches children facing serious illness or disability with college sports teams, creating a long-term, life-changing experience for everyone involved. Help us get all kids in the game. Visit teamimpact.org. Team Impact. All in, all together.
Some days you hit snooze. 24 Anheuser-Busch Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Are you thinking about tomorrow? Midco is, and your needs and goals are at the top of our mind. Whether you want to up your internet speed game or end buffering frustration, turn to Midco and turn on a better way to connect. You'll get a partner with a fiber network ready for today and ready to handle anything the future can bring. Go bigger, go higher, go beyond. Midco. Let's go.
Hi, this is Orange Bowl champion Brandon McAnderson, and you're listening to Kansas Jayhawk football on the Jayhawk Sports Network.
Upon further review, the spot on the field stands. They do indeed give him the full 3 yards and a first down for BYU, who's now up to 100 total yards of offense in this first half. Kansas with 92 yards. 84 of which came on the opening drive. They've been stuck in neutral ever since. But more concerning right now, David, is missed tackles are piling up in bunches for the Kansas defense.
No question about that. We've seen it at linebacker and in the secondary, much more than we've seen recently. I've seen very few missed tackles in recent games. BMAC, we talked about this during the commercial break. Kansas does have gloves. So could cold weather be an excuse?
I think L.J. Martin deserves a lot of credit. I mean, because he's fast and he's 230 pounds. And a couple times he's just ran away from the linebackers with some open space. So kudos to him, but also there's got to be a better effort to wrap up.
Yeah, that's fair. BYU has a lot to do with it.
Leave it to the former running back to defend the running back and give him his just due, right? Back to pass goes. Here they go down the right sideline. It's going to be caught by Rapati, and he's into the end zone for the touchdown. Retzloff led him perfectly that time as Rapati leaked out and down the right sideline. He hauls it in, and it's a touchdown. BYU will take its first lead, 9-7 Cougars, as that time Rapati slipped out down that right sideline and had 2 strides on the nearest Jayhawk.
Yeah, he beat Berryhill, who was motioning over, and he had an assignment to cover the running back. It's a tough job for Berryhill to do that. So good play call to put them in a favorable matchup situation. But Kansas showed some breakdowns on that drive.
Extra point on the way. It's up and true from Will Farron. It's an 8-play, 69-yard drive. It took 4:31 off the clock. And just like that, after such a promising start for Kansas, it's 10 straight points by the 7th-ranked Cougars. And right now the Jayhawks looking for answers both offensively and defensively.
Yeah, offensively, I would love to see us get back to running the ball. You know, outside zone, inside zone, option. All those things were working out very well. I think we've got the 2 better running backs. Martin, we've seen how successful he's been. On the other side, let's showcase our talent and run the ball right at these guys. The numbers have kind of flip-flopped since early on, and you can understand that. BYU has had 2 successful drives and have 130 yards total.
Jayhawks now trailing 10-7. Hey, Jayhawk fans, grab yourself an ice-cold Pepsi Zero Sugar for tonight's game. Well, maybe not at 10:30 back home, but Pepsi Zero Sugar is made for football watching. Pepsi Zero Sugar, a proud sponsor of the University of Kansas. You probably do need it if you want to stay up all 4 quarters, so grab one now. Hawks trailing by 3 on the Equity Bank Jayhawks Sports Network from Learfield.
When you need mealtime inspiration, it's worth shopping Dillon's for thousands of appetizing ingredients that inspire countless mouth-watering meals. And no matter what tasty choice you make, you'll enjoy our everyday low prices. Plus, extra ways to save, like digital coupons worth over $600 each week and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump with points. So you can get big flavors and big savings. Dillon's, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
Wave the wheat. This is Kansas Jayhawk football from Learfield.
All right, son. Time to put out this campfire.
Dad, we learned about this in school.
Oh, did you now? Okay. What's first?
Smokey Bear said to.
First drown it with a bucket of water, then stir it with a shovel.
Wow, you sound just like him.
Then he said.
If it's still warm, then do it again.
Where can I learn all this?
It's all on SmokeyBear.com with other wildfire prevention tips, because only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Ryan Blaney, a third-generation race car driver, and I dedicate a lot of my time going fast. But when my grandpa was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, it was a very unexpected bump in the road for us. It's important to notice if older family members are acting differently or having trouble with routine tasks. Early detection of Alzheimer's can give your family time to explore support services and access available treatments. If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together. Visit alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
8:48 to go here in the second quarter.
Is now wearing number 52.
Kansas Jayhawks trailing 10-7 at BYU. 10 unanswered points by the Cougars. Hawks need to get back to rushing the football, something they had been doing well. Devin Neal over 6 yards per tote. Still not sure on the status of L.J. Arnold. He was not a part of the last drive. He's remained on the sideline and trying to work through that lower back pain. But right now we're more concerned on giving it to real deal Devin Neal and getting back to establishing the ground attack. Kickoff here by Farron will be fair caught at the 5-yard line, and Kansas will take it at the 25-yard line. Cougar special teamers always run into the end zone after a kickoff, flailing their arms upward to hype up this crowd. Capacity is 63,470, and as you would imagine with the number 7 team in the country, this is indeed a sellout.
And Jason Gilliam was hurt on that, and there was not a return, but he's being was helped off. He may have had some contact by people running by him. I just saw Jason with his parents earlier today.
He was our featured guest on Hawk Talk this week. Check out the archives at KUathletics.com. Trevor Wilson in for LJ. Comes on a jet sweep here, and the handoff will only net 4 yards as he's up near the 29-yard line. Yeah. Tackle made by the guy that David Lawrence was hyping throughout the pregame, Isaiah Glasker. Somebody David feels is a lock for the first team All Big 12.
Yeah, has a chance to be player of the year on the defensive side. But Kansas, again, not going with their 2 guys, Neal and Highshaw, ever since the reverse on that second series that threw us off schedule. We've not been the same offense.
Daniels now changing the play with 10 seconds on the play clock. 2nd and 6, QB option. He'll keep along the right hash, cuts it back into the open field, and now dives forward to the 40-yard line. He winds up gaining over 10 yards there, does Jalen Daniels, and a terrific decision and some improv as well to redirect and change pace all the way up to the 40-yard line.
Yeah, he runs the sprint option so well. He gets downhill, gets into the line of scrimmage. He quickly made the decision he's going to keep it, not pitch it, and he cut back against the grain.
Officially a gain of 11 for Jalen Daniels, and for Jalen, his 2nd rush of the night. 2 carries, 16 yards. 2 receivers wide to the left. Daniels, a play-action drop back, deep ball throw. He's got Grimm. He's got the catch at the 38-yard line, complete. Got a toe down, and it's a first down for Kansas. Luke Grimm hauling it in, his first reception of the day.
Yeah, Jalen Daniels rolls to his right, and then Grimm runs a little corner route. He's lined up inside receiver on the left. And nice throw and catch.
Daniels again back to pass. This time finds the tight end Jared Casey at the 30-yard line. So a little quick pass here for 7 yards. And Casey flung forward will bring up 2nd and 3.
Yeah, Coach Grimes certainly mixing things up. We see Devin Neal coming back in. How much would you love to see Devin Neal get this handoff, B-Mac?
And he has made people miss at the second level. Open holes in the middle as well.
Ethan Slade on that last stop for BYU, flinging Casey forward for an extra yard. 2nd and 3 for the Jayhawks, who trail 10-7, but they're marching on the 30-yard line of BYU. Luke Grimm in the backfield, direct snap to Devin Neal, who bobbled on the catch and sprints forward near the first down. It might be right at the sticks. It bounced off his face mask, and he had to adjust and securely haul it in before taking off to run. And they're going to say less than a yard shy of the first. He needs to get to the 27, and the ball right now is just across the 28. It's 3rd and about 2 feet.
Yeah, Bryce Foster looks like he's limping a little bit, but he snapped that maybe a little faster than you want him to snap it to a running back in Neal, and the bobble threw the timing off.
Jayhawks in the pistol on 3rd and less than a yard. They are 1 of 3 on 3rd downs today. Tight end comes motioning from left to right, and we're going to get a procedure call on Kansas.
Card the snap, false start. Offense, number 0, 5-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
So instead of 3rd and a couple of feet, it's now 3rd and 6. Was BMAC on the air right there? Let's send it down to BMAC. What did you see, Brandon?
Yeah, it looks like JD got confused about who was motioning. He asked Q so many times that Q ended up going, but the motion was coming from the left from Cure.
Thank you, Brandon.
You had Casey and Skinner moving at the same time, and that was resulted in the penalty. This is 4-down territory. We don't pick it up.
Daniels hands off to Neal. Stutter steps, rushing left side. He's stretched out and pushed back. He'll only gain a yard, and he's being taken down all the way on the other side of the field.
I don't like that.
Oh, and now he's ultimately going to see some BYU extracurricular activity here, and no penalty flags.
Yeah. Cable Dude pushed Mengelson, who flopped down, and good job by the official not to throw it. But why did they have to carry this out and put Devin Neal down on the ground? And Cable Dude had, and that what a flop.
Forward momentum was stopped at the 33-yard line. Devin Neal wound up on the other side of midfield.
We're going to go for this.
Kansas facing a 4th and 5 will go for it. First down would come at the 27-yard line. This is their first 4th down attempt of the day. They trail 10-7, 4:30 to go here in the first half.
I like the call.
3 receivers wide right, 1 wide left. Daniels, deep drop, deep ball. He's got Grimm at the 10 and spun out of bounds at the 6-yard line. Luke Grimm on the deep ball throw. Oh, so clutch.
Yeah, great call, great execution. Grimm lined up inside receiver on the right as Jalen Daniels rolls that way. And Grimm, they're going to do a little rub-off pattern with his other 2 receivers. And tell you what, he's just lost in the coverage. So the 3 receivers on the right side doing a little rub action opened up Grimm.
27 yards on the catch. Jalen Daniels sprinting to the right edge, stumbles, slips, and falls down. Kelly on pursuit that time is going to get a tackle for loss. And JD tackled back behind the 6 near the 7-yard line.
Yeah, you want to get yards. You know, you had less than 10 to go, obviously. We're at the 6. You want to get positive motion forward every time, and that one's going to set us back 1 yard, so we need to make up for that.
2nd and goal from just inside the 7. 2 backs in the backfield, and now Devin Neal motions out wide to the left. Casey, the H-back, on the right side of Daniels. JD looking to throw. Now tucks to Ron at the 5, fighting at the 3, pushed forward by a teammate to the 2. And he was still on his feet, it appeared, when the whistle blew the play dead.
That the runner's progress was stopped short of the goal line.
His knee was never down, but they blew the play dead. He was still trying to scrap and claw and fight for an extra yard there. 3rd and goal from the 2-yard line now for Kansas.
Yeah, so that's a called quarterback draw. They used Neal as a decoy, lined out wide left. They used Casey to block on that quarterback draw. So positive yardage, Kansas 2 plays from the 3 to take the lead back.
10-7 BYU, but the Jayhawks knocking on the door. Ball just outside the 2-yard line. And now penalty flag comes in. This could be delay of game on Kansas.
Delay game. Offense, 5-yard penalty.
Boy, I tell you what, you just absolutely cannot have a mistake like that, especially with such a veteran team. Instead of having 2 plays to get 2.5 yards, now if you don't get enough on this 3rd and goal from the 7, you might be settling for a field goal.
Yeah, Kansas was able to overcome the last penalty from the motion that made it the 4th down that we had to convert. So now, what can Kansas reach in and grab? I love the pattern and the concept they had last time with the 3 receivers and Grimm coming off the rub. Let's see what he comes up with now.
All right, Magic Man, what do you have in your bag of tricks? Daniels.
Got a stoppage again.
Does not get the play off. The play's whistled dead. What's the call?
It's the 2-minute timeout.
At the 1:58 mark. So, clock operator let it drip down. Officials didn't see it either, and then they blow it dead. So, Kansas will have some extra time to think about this one. I don't think the Jayhawks even realized that either, because they were trying to snap that ball and run a play.
This game's going fast.
Which is good for our bedtimes for folks listening back home, but
it's good if we have the lead at that juncture. But man, time is running. Let's get the lead on this thing, and because BYU is going to have the ball coming out.
Jayhawks are inside that Kansas Lottery red zone. Download the Kansas Lottery Play On app and dream bigger. It'll be 3rd and goal from just outside the 7-yard line when we return. 10-7 BYU. Jayhawks looking for a massive upset in terms of record, but maybe not that big of a surprise if it happens. They've come to play here tonight in Provo on the Equity Bank Jayhawk Sports Network from Learfield.
And now an important message from our coaches' wives.
If you or someone you know is having thoughts of suicide or experiencing a mental health or substance use crisis,
988 provides direct connection to free, confidential, and compassionate support.
You'll be quickly connected to trained crisis counselors
who will listen to your concerns and connect you to additional resources if needed.
There is hope.
You are not alone.
For 24/7 non-judgmental support,
call, text, or chat 988.
I'm Tammy Peterman, president of the Kansas City Division of the University of Kansas Health System. We are proud the University of Kansas Hospital is still the best hospital in Kansas and Kansas City, according to U.S. News and World Report, the only hospital to ever receive this recognition. We are also the only hospital in the region to have any medical and surgical adult specialties ranked among the top 50 nationwide, with 6 nationally ranked specialties. Now and always, we are here for you. Learn more at kansashealthsystem.com/stillthebest.
For generations, hardworking people have relied on Ford F-Series trucks to help grow businesses, communities, families. A legacy of capability and technology that has made Ford F-Series America's best-selling trucks 47 years straight. This is the next generation of Built Ford Tough. Based on 1977 to 2023 calendar year total sales.
Hi, this is Justin Thornton, and you're listening to Kansas Jayhawks football on the Jayhawks Sports Network.
2 minutes to go here in the first half. Kansas trailing 10-7 at the home of the 7th-ranked BYU Cougars. A perfect 9-0 record that Kansas is trying to put a dent in here tonight. A delay of game penalty made 3rd and goal from just outside the 2. Now 3rd and goal from just outside the 7. You were thinking 4-down territory, but will that still be the case if they get stopped without much gain here? You're trailing by 3. BYU will have a chance to possess it, essentially back-to-back possessions, since they'll get the final 2 minutes of this half and the opening kickoff to start the second. So you'd love a touchdown right here, especially on this 3rd down play.
And I think maybe even gives you more reason to gamble if we come up short inside the 5-yard line on 4th down. But let's just count on getting it right here. Kansas has been effective throwing the football with Jalen Daniels, 7 of 10 for 105 yards. He's got the hot hand. Let's Let's have it.
4 receivers set. Devin Neal is the running back, standing to the right of Daniels. Chest high snap, 3-step drop, looking left, flush to the right, under pressure, looking toward the end zone, backpedaling, throws short, juggled and dropped and nearly picked as Devin Neal was batting it around like a hot potato. It got batted up in the air, and because you net nothing on that attempt, you got to take the points on the road. They'll send Tabor Allen and the kicking team out there for a chip shot field goal to try to tie this game.
Yeah, and Grimm, he was the primary target, and he just basically did a little post up at the end zone, and good job by JD not throwing it. Glasgow was right there to pick that off. So better to get this 3 points, assuming we're going to finish this off.
Braden Addison is the holder. It will be a 25-yard kick from between the hashes. Good snap, good hold, obviously plenty of leg, and the kick is true. Kansas has tied this game with 1:46 to go in the first half. BYU will possess it to start the third quarter, so as I said, they got a chance at back-to-back possessions. But hey, if Kansas can get a stop right here, you would have taken a tie at the half showing up today. Maybe not after Kansas led 7-0 6 minutes in, but I think all things told, the Hawks have a chance to head to the locker room tied. But a defense that has been plagued by some broken tackles over these last 20 minutes or so really needs to draw a line in the sand on this final drive of the second quarter.
Well, I'll one-up you on that. Let's get a stop and on third down call timeout and be able to get the ball back, make a completion, and go ahead with a field goal to go into the locker room.
I'll one-up you on that. Let's do all that and get a touchdown instead of a field goal. While we're just, drawing it up ideally, right?
Dream big.
Dream big, baby.
But yeah, I think we'll shore up the missed tackles. I think, getting used to the environment a little bit out there. I don't think, the LJ Martin's any greater than the running backs that we faced previously. We just have to concentrate more, get in those lanes, and play better. And I think that will happen.
Both teams have all 3 timeouts remaining. The drive for Kansas, 11 plays, 68 yards. It took half the quarter, 7:02, but they settle for a chip shot field goal, and that delay of game looms large. Got to have better clock awareness. I know it's loud. I know there's a lot at stake, but that 5 yards in the wrong direction really thwarted that drive. Kickoff by Tabor Allen goes out the back of the end zone. It'll be a touchback. And the BYU Cougars will take it at the 25 with all 3 timeouts in a 10-10 tie. 1:46 to play here in the first half at Provo.
No turnovers in this game. Again, BYU has had 2 interceptions against every Big 12 Brethren team this season. They don't have any so far.
4 receivers set. They're going to keep it on the ground. Retzloff rushing it straight forward will gain 10+ on first down on a QB draw. J.B. Brown finally takes him down, but 11 yards for Retzloff and a good start to this drive for the BYU Cougars.
Yeah, certainly Kansas needs to play aggressive. Anytime they get in any prevent-type defense, they've given up too many chunk yards.
Back to pass, Retzloff looking right. Easy pitch and catch, caught at midfield. They'll dive across the 50 down to the 48-yard line. It's their leading receiver, Chase Roberts. He's got 15 more, and suddenly they're inside Kansas territory. I don't have to remind diehard KU football fans how the last 2 minutes of halves have gone for Kansas this season, both first half and second half. The final 2 minutes have really been a bugaboo. Here's a play left side, going to be hauled in at the 34-yard line. The ball's complete to Marion. Kobe Bryant flings him out of bounds on the left sideline, but not before another nice gain of 14 yards. So they're knocking on the door of the red zone just like that, and only 30 seconds have come off the clock.
And you look at how far our corners have been playing off receivers, and it's been like 6-7 yards. BYU is basically just taking what we're giving them on the outside, and I know Brian Borden's thinking that he's got the all-star corners that can make up time on that and get that pick, and let's see if we can get that done, because right now it's not going well.
Back to passes Retzloff from the 33-yard line. Pressure comes. He gets loose of it. Caught by Martin on a high ball. And he's tackled inbounds by J.B. Brown, who has some words for him afterwards. He gets to the 31, but that's just a gain of 1.5 yards. So BYU will take a timeout with 1:03 to go here in the half. But it was back-to-back 16-yard pickups. So to hold them to just 1.5 yards there feels like a major victory, and now the Kansas defense can catch its breath a bit. The 2nd and 9 coming up, 1:03 to go in the half, and a 10-10 tie.
Yeah, Dean Miller had good pressure on the outside. He forced the early pass by Retzloff. And that was a J.B. Brown hit. You could just tell you didn't have to see his number. So J.B. really coming back and avenging for that missed tackle earlier.
Jay Rieger and Company is Kansas City's original distillery and a proud partner of KU Athletics. Look for our Rock Chalk Rye and Wave the Wheat Vodka at your favorite retailer.
Midland Exteriors is a locally owned, family-operated window, siding, and roofing contractor that's been serving the Kansas community since 2001. Check out their website today at midlandexteriors.com.
2nd down and just inside of 9 yards to go. First down would come inside the 23-yard line for BYU. 4 receivers set. Retzloff in the gun. Martin on his right hip. Kansas threatening blitz. And a chin-high snap and a QB option. He's going to keep it. Retzloff sprinting inside the 25. Hit down at the 22-yard line by Taiwan Berryhill, but not before he jets forward for 10 yards and another BYU first down. That's their 12th of the half. Now he'll spike the ball to save a timeout. Don't know why he had to do that with 2 timeouts remaining. It's still 58 seconds to go in the half, but they wasted down on first down, and honestly, David, that could result in a field goal attempt later.
Yeah, Taiwan Berryhill took 2 false steps to his right when they were running sprint option to his left. So the false steps is what really opened up that sprint option, which has worked really well for BYU.
You can hunker down and get 2 stops here. You'd force a field goal attempt instead of a touchdown as they clock it on first. So 2nd and 10 here. 3 receivers set. 3-step drop for Retzloff. Checks it down to the tight end at the 17, to the 10, leapfrogs a Jayhawk there, and dives down to the 5-yard line. Big time hole opened up over the middle of the field, and Tassi took flight down to the 5-yard line. 1st and goal from the 5. Clock at 50 seconds to go in the half. BYU with an empty set. Retzloff looks right. Jump ball intercepted. Picked off by guess who? Mello Dotson. They lobbed it up for the tight end. There was a little bit of contact and maybe a push off, but Mello squares up, hauls it in, and it's a huge takeaway for the Kansas defense.
Yeah, Mello Dotson has had a tough night so far, but he makes up for it right there. Man on the outside, he reads it all the way, and actually the big tight end didn't make a play on the ball. So miscommunication between the big tight end and Retzloff, and not bad communication by our cornerback as Mello Dotson was right there. We're running victory formation.
The ball comes out to the 20 because it was intercepted in the end zone. But the Jayhawks are giving the appearance of just taking a knee here with 39 seconds and all 3 timeouts. I don't know why you don't try to stretch the field a bit here, considering BYU has the ball to start the 3rd quarter. What do you think, David?
Certainly conservative. And maybe because of the whole turnover factor that BYU is so good there, doesn't want to mess that up and take the tie into halftime, but certainly they understand that BYU does get the ball to start out the second half. So missed opportunities in the first half. You feel okay about 10-10, but you kind of like to think the way we started the game that we would have the lead at this juncture, but there's no doubt that our guys are confident they can come back and beat this undefeated 6th-ranked team in the second half.
No doubt. Let's send it down to BMAC.
Coach, pretty even half. Good ending for the defense.
Yeah, it was. It was a big play by Mello because we hadn't slowed him down very much there in that drive. We had some self-inflicted mistakes on our drive inside the red zone. Unfortunately, we had to settle for the field goal. But we're playing hard. It'll be a 60-minute battle.
Thanks, Coach.
Yeah.
Brandon McAnderson with Lance Leipold. A 10-10 tie at the end of the first half, and BYU will have the ball to start the second. Mello Dotson, who's the reigning Jim Thorpe Award National Defensive Back of the Week, the co-defensive player of the week in the Big 12, comes up with essentially a 7-point saver right there. BYU looked like they were going to score. They had 50 seconds on the clock, 2 timeouts remaining. They were moving the ball at will, but he's able to make a play as they try to lob it for the tight end and didn't make a play on the ball, did the intended target. Mello Dotson did, and it saves a touchdown for the Kansas defense. We're going to step aside for a timeout. When we come back, we'll break down the first half box score, have some first half highlights and analysis as well. 10-10 our score at the half on the Equity Bank Jayhawks Sports Network from Learfield.
Which schools will take home the prestigious Learfield Directors Cup as the top college athletic programs for the 2024-25 college athletics season? You can follow the standings of your favorite team or alma mater at L Directors Cup on Twitter and online at thedirectorscup.com. Trophies will be awarded in June 2025 to the winning institutions in all college sports divisions. Learfield Directors Cup, the crowning achievement in college athletics.
Hey Jayhawk fans, it's Coach Leipold. Here at Kansas Athletics, we know success isn't accomplished alone. It's all about team. That's why we are proud to team up with Ameritrust Credit Union, the official financial well-being partner of Kansas Athletics. Team Ameritrust knows that every play matters and every moment leads to a winning game plan. They have the resources you need to save, spend, borrow, and plan along your financial journey. Stop by a Ameritrust location today or visit ameritrustcu.org.
You're listening to Jayhawk Football.
What a throw! What a spin move!
This is Kansas Jayhawk Football from Learfield.
Most of us like to be out in the sun. That's why sunscreen and other safety measures are key to protecting your skin from aging and cancer. The FDA recommends using a sunscreen with an SPF of 15 or higher. Also, look for broad spectrum on the label. That means both harmful ultraviolet A and B rays are blocked. Remember, SPF plus broad spectrum equal healthy fun in the sun. Visit www.fda.gov/sunscreen for more information. A message from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
How's business?
Good. Are you up to speed with the new beneficial ownership reporting requirements?
Sort of. What's it about?
It's a new initiative to help fight crimes like money laundering, fraud, and drug trafficking. A lot of small businesses like ours just have to report some basic info to the federal government about the real people behind them.
Reporting your company's beneficial ownership information is quick, secure, and free. And it helps protect U.S. national security. Learn more at fincen.gov/BOI.
Welcome to the Kansas Jayhawk Halftime Show on the Jayhawk Sports Network from Learfield. Coming up, a breakdown of the action so far, a check of scores from around the nation, and a look ahead. Now, let's go back to the stadium.
Welcome back to LaVell Edwards Stadium. Capacity 63,470. And they've been entertained thus far, but haven't had a ton to cheer about in a 10-10 tie. Kansas seized control early, and we'll start right there on our Sun Graphics first half recap, proud printing partner of Kansas Athletics. Jayhawks lost the opening coin toss. BYU elected to defer. Kansas got the ball first and immediately went 10 plays and 84 yards down the field to strike first. Along the road to those 84 yards was a big pass play to Quentin Skinner down the left sideline. Here's how it sounded. Just underway, bad snap. JD has to go back to get it off a bounce, then throws a wobbly pass. It's going to be caught by Skinner. The defensive back fell down. Skinner's got the ball, and Kansas flips the field down to the 43-yard line of BYU. They replay review to make sure that Skinner was indeed inbounds. He was, and Kansas, with a 29-yard reception because Mark Collins fell down on the play, was suddenly in business. Jayhawks would keep on moving the chains and ultimately give the ball to their red zone favorite, a guy that now has 11 rushing TDs on the year and 44 on his career, Devin Neal. Casey comes in motion. The give is to Devin, rushing straight forward. Has the first down. He's to the goal line. He is in. Touchdown, Kansas. Devin Neal squirts through that hole and into the end zone. The Jayhawks strike first on an 8-yard touchdown for Devin Neal. And, of course, with that, as I referenced, he adds to his career rushing TD record and his total TD record, both of which he owns here at KU. Kansas looked dominant on that first drive. Then the defense got a stop after giving up just one first down on the first BYU possession. It looked like we were off to the races. But then the struggles would set in for Kansas, both with a couple of drives that stalled out quickly, an injury to both Logan Brown, who did return, and L.J. Arnold, who has not. And the Kansas offense was kind of stuck in neutral. Then defensive issues cropped up as several broken tackles and missed tackles occurred, with L.J. Martin heading the rushing attack at BYU. He had 8 carries, make it 6 carries for 43 yards in the first half. And ultimately, BYU was able to march down the field and have a chance to kick an early field goal. It was 7-3. Kansas still maintaining its lead. But then another BYU scoring drive, this time capping it with 6 and a PAT. The Jayhawks trailed 10-7 at that juncture. And at that particular point, following the Rapati 30-yard touchdown, Jayhawks were looking for answers both offensively and defensively. Good news is they got it going again offensively with Luke Grimm hauling in a pair of long receptions. Jalen Daniels did not find his favorite target at all in the first quarter, but on one drive alone, he racked up 50 yards. Here they are in back-to-back plays. Grimm from 23 and then Grimm from 27 yards out. 2 receivers wide to the left. Daniels, a play-action drop back, deep ball throw. He's got Grimm. He's got the catch at the 38-yard line, complete. Got a toe down, and it's a first down for Kansas. Luke Grimm hauling it in, his first reception of the day. 3 receivers wide right, 1 wide left. Daniels, deep drop, deep ball. He's got Grimm at the 10 and spun out of bounds at the 6-yard line. Luke Grimm on the deep ball throw. Oh, so clutch. It was clutch indeed, and that put Kansas inside the 10. They got it down to a 3rd and goal from the 2. But then you talk about avoiding the self-inflicted wounds. They had a delay of game penalty, which changes everything, because instead of 2 chances from 2 yards out, suddenly it's 3rd and goal from the 7. And if you come up empty there, you almost have to kick it, trailing 10-7. That's exactly what happened. Pass was thrown incomplete. It was bobbled and dropped by Devin Neal. They bring on Tabor Allen, and he boots through a 25-yarder to tie the game at 10 apiece. Then late in the half, BYU was driving. They were picking up everything they wanted, quickly moving down the field in less than a minute to have 1st and goal at the 5. And to call it like it is, it had been a frustrating day for Mello Dotson prior to this play, but he had one-on-one coverage to the right, did Retzloff. He thought, I'm going to pick on number 3 again. This time, that proved to be a costly decision. With an empty set, Retzloff looks right, jump ball, intercepted, picked off by guess who? Mello Dotson. They lobbed it up for the tight end. There was a little bit of contact and maybe a push off, but Mello squares up, hauls it in, and it's a huge takeaway for the Kansas defense.
Yeah, Mello.
Upon further review, proved to be a clean play. The tight end just didn't make a very strong play at the ball. The Mello Dotson did. That saved 7 points for Kansas and kept us tied at 10-all at the half. When we come back, Sean Kellerman will take you around the Big 12 scoreboard. That's next on the Equity Bank Jayhawks Sports Network from Learfield.
When a KU versus K-State rivalry game begins, emotions run high, legends are created, school pride hangs in the balance, memories that last a lifetime will be made, because each game is the most important game in history, at least until the next one. Get in the game with your chance to win up to $50,000. The Rivalry Riches instant ticket from the Kansas Lottery. See kslottery.com for details.
Behind my desk in the hospital is a wall of cards, letters, and thank you notes. They're from our patients, their children, their families, expressing thanks for how we've helped them. Every note we get goes right up on that wall. And it doesn't happen often, but whenever I need a reminder that what we do is making a difference for people, I look back at that wall and immediately, I'm inspired to continue doing all I can.
The University of Kansas Health System. Why would you go anywhere else?
You're listening to Jayhawk Football.
What a throw! What a spin move!
This is Kansas Jayhawk Football from Learfield.
This is McGruff the Crime Dog, and I need you to help me take a bite out of crime. Another teenager, victim to fake pills bought from social media. This doesn't seem like a drug deal, but it definitely is. Should buying prescription pills be that easy? Many fake pills contain fentanyl, and an amount small enough to fit on the tip of a pencil can be lethal. So listen, before buying pills from social media, think again. Learn more at mcgruffpsa.org and go for real. Brought to you by USPTO and the National Crime Prevention Council.
Yes! I finally got my first phone!
It is exciting. Let's learn a few things about online safety first.
We can secure our world. Online security depends on you and me. Install updates, make better passwords. Think before you click, use multiple factors. That's how we can secure our world.
Learn more at CISA.gov/secure our world.
This copyrighted broadcast is an exclusive presentation of Learfield under the broadcasting rights granted by the University of Kansas. Reuse of this presentation is prohibited without the express written consent of the University of Kansas and Learfield. Announcers are provided by Learfield and approved by the University of Kansas.
Sean Kellerman back in Lawrence, catching you up on action in the Big 12 and the top 25. Let's start in conference play. Story of the day was in the Little Apple, and it was a bitter story for the home team as number 16 K-State loses to Arizona State 24-14. ASU, an incredible 8-2 on the season, 5-2 in the Big 12. K-State, meanwhile, they see their college football playoff hopes take a big hit, and the Cats are on the cusp of dropping out of the top 25. Baylor wins a shootout in Morgantown over West Virginia, 49-35. Bears clinch bowl eligibility and continue their surprising ascent in the conference. Iowa State stops a two-game skid with a 34-17 victory at home against Cincinnati, and number 17 Colorado has no problem disposing of Utah 49-24. Last night, Arizona won an ugly one over Houston 27-3. In the top 25, number 1 Oregon nearly saw their perfect season fall apart, but a late interception seals the deal, a 16-13 victory in Madison over Wisconsin. Number 12 Georgia defeats number 7 Tennessee in Athens 31-17. Number 13 Boise State comes back from an early deficit to beat San Jose State 42-21. And got to point this one out, number 21 Mizzou loses a heartbreaker to number 23 South Carolina in the final seconds. Gamecocks win it 34-30. Number 1 KU basketball defeats Oakland at Fog Allen earlier today 78-57. And number 12 KU volleyball sweeps number 17 Baylor out of Lawrence. Full scoreboard and postgame. Back to the guys in Provo in a 10-10 tie after this on the Jayhawk Sports Network from Learfield.
The Jayhawks have been lighting up scoreboards, well, since scoreboards were invented. And Shirley Signs has been lighting up the Midwest and shipping signs nationwide since 1972. With 2 locations, Shirley Signs can help you with any location in Kansas, from channel letters to awnings and everything in between. Multiple locations? No problem. Check out www.shirleysigns.com or call 1-800-779-7446.
Wave the wheat. This is Kansas Jayhawk football from Learfield.
Just like Lance Leipold and his coaching staff place their best players in the right positions for success, so does the Brush Group with our multi-company marketing team of Sun Graphics, Dunleavy Litho, and Brush Art Corporation. Sun Graphics is the proud printing partner of Kansas Athletics and is known for marketing support that is nothing short of exceptional. Make sure you're scoring a touchdown with all your marketing efforts by contacting Sun Graphics today. Proud sponsor of Kansas Athletics.
College sports fans now have access to hundreds of weekly podcasts that zero in on the college sports world. Now available in the Varsity Podcast Network and part of the new Varsity app. The app is free and available from wherever you get your favorite apps. Download the Varsity app today to have access to hundreds of national podcasts as well as your favorite team-focused podcasts. The Varsity Podcast Network, now available for free on the Varsity app. Download from the App Store and listen today.
It's 10-10 in Provo.
Let's take a look at some first half stats brought to you by Bud Light, proud sponsor of Kansas Athletics. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Statistics look somewhat like the score, very even. BYU the edge in first downs, 13-8. Rushing yards, BYU 85 yards on 14 carries, Kansas 64 yards on 16 carries. Passing yards, Kansas 105, BYU 115. Total offense, Kansas 27 plays for 169 yards, BYU 31 plays for 200 yards. Third down conversions, this is a stat where BYU has had more success against us than previous opponents, as Kansas just 1 of 5 on third down, BYU 2 of 4. Fourth down conversions, a big one for Kansas. They've converted their 1 fourth down try. BYU is yet to try on fourth down. The big number stat that Kansas leads is turnovers, as they are up 1-0. And, of course, BYU is the most ball-savvy team at creating turnovers and picking off opposing quarterbacks. They've yet to do that to JD. Rushing, Devin Neal 7 carries for 33 yards with a touchdown, 4.7 yards per carry. Jalen Daniels 4 for 20 with a 5-yard average. Sevion Morrison 8 yards on his 1 carry. Trevor Wilson 1 for 4. Receiving it's Luke Grimm, 2 receptions for 50 yards. Devin Neal 2 for 9 yards. Tackling, J.B. Brown leads Kansas defensively with 5 total tackles, 4 unassisted. O.J. Burrows follows with 4. You're listening to the halftime show. The second half is coming up. This is the Equity Bank Jayhawks Sports Network from Learfield.
Some days you hit snooze, but not today. Here's St. Louis, Missouri.
This is Kansas Jayhawk football from Learfield.
Everyone has a community, a neighborhood, school, kids' teams, where you worship, work out, or any other place or group where you choose to belong. Communities can provide support when you need it, and even when you don't know you do. Like when it comes to preventing underage drinking and other substance use. Community members can be your eyes and ears when you're not with your kids and alert you to signs of potential problems. Learn more at talktheyhearyou.samhsa.gov.
Kids ask their parents a lot of questions.
Why can't people fly?
Gravity.
Is the moon really made of cheese?
Yep, cream cheese.
When can I move into a big kid's car seat?
For some questions, parents may not have the answer, but that's okay. They can't know everything, but knowing the right seat for their age and size will help protect them in a car crash. Find out more at nhtsa.gov/the right seat.
Where do babies come from?
Good luck, Dad. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Provo, Utah. 10-10 our score. And the local time is 10:10 as well. Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification. You're listening to Jayhawk Football. BYU will have the ball to start the second half. David, you said it repeatedly. Going back to the early second quarter, Kansas needs to get back to what was working on their game-opening drive, feed the ball to arguably their best player in Devin Neal. That's one half of the equation, but how do they shore up the tackling that at times looked difficult in that second quarter?
I think that's something they're going to adjust to with time, or we'll lose, because we've got to do a better job. But the stat that jumps out to me where we're lacking is third down, because normally I think we're about in the top 3 in the conference in third down conversions at about 50%. Yeah, number 1 in third down conversions. We're 1 of 5 today. So BYU doing an effective job right there. But yeah, I would like to see us get back to rushing the football and the tackling. And this drive is going to be big, B-Mac. Come up with a way to get off of the field and not give up the lead.
It absolutely is. You think about the previous drives where they've had scoring possessions, there's been opportunities on third down to stymie them, and missed tackles have been a bugaboo.
that Kansas actually fourth in the nation with 52% third down conversions, but tonight 1 of 5, as David alluded to, and it was the play that happened before the third down snap that you're lamenting the most. That delay of game penalty cost him 5 yards, but more specifically cost him 4 points. Of course, BYU losing 7 points on an end zone interception. The opening kickoff of the second half brought out of the end zone by Marion, and not a good decision as Kansas is right there tackling him down at the 17-yard line. Yeah. Cole Mondy with a big-time special teams play. I know our buddy Matt Llewellyn at the 23rd Street Brewery will be raising a glass. Cole Mondy's got his own sandwich at the brewery. He's
you know what? He's
a popular guy.
What a great kid. He busts his tail on scout team. And I don't know that he's always been on the kickoff coverage, but you can tell he takes a lot of pride in it. And I don't think it's the last time he's on kickoff coverage. What a big-time stop, basically getting Kansas an extra 8 yards defensively.
And a soon-to-be father as well, Cole Mondy. Play-action drop-back. Retzloff's pass is tipped and nearly intercepted. Mello Dotson had a chance at his second pick of the day. Cornell Wheeler got a paw up, deflected the ball near the line of scrimmage, and Mello laying out with 2 hands almost hauled it in.
Well, tremendous pressure by Kansas. So you've got that, and you've got BYU behind the schedule, but yeah, could have been back-to-back picks defensively for Mello Dotson. That's, of course, he's playing a corner. He's not a receiver, but a receiver is expected to catch that.
His 5 interceptions lead the Big 12, by the way, and here they go, straight forward. And Retzloff will complete a pass to his top receiver, Chase Roberts. That's going to be good for a first down the left sideline. Mello Dotson with the interception at the end of the first half has now moved into 4th place all-time on the Kansas career record books with 12 interceptions. But that time, nice passing play of 11 gets BYU out of jail.
Yeah, it was had a go route going on and then an out route that Taylor Davis had to come over from safety to cover. And he just couldn't get there in time. So BYU, back on schedule at first down.
Martin in the backfield along with Ropati. They'll turn and give to Martin on a draw play. Rushing right side. He cuts back and his ankle tackled at the 35-yard line. It picks up 7. And they've been able to get 7.2 yards per carry out of L.J. Martin thus far. And there's 7 solid more yards right there. He is running with purpose. He's getting nice seams and lanes to run through. And right now, he's had about as big a role in this BYU comeback as any.
Yeah, and that would be a surprise to us when we talked about, that we had the best 2 running backs in the game. And certainly statistically, that's not occurring right now. It's L.J. Martin showing the most effective back out there and breaking a lot of tackles.
7 carries, 50 yards for Martin. 2nd and 3, handoff. Rapati rushing right side along the right hashes. He'll be tackled down by Marvin Grant right at the sticks, and they're going to go ahead and say first down. So he got the necessary 3. Second first down of the drive for BYU. And 63 Cougar fans, 63,000 that is, getting charged up here as they near midfield in a 10-10 tie.
Well, Kansas got to stop initially, right? The first time that BYU had the football, that forced them to punt. Then they forced the field goal try. Then they scored the touchdown, and then Kansas got the interception in the end zone. But BYU, we haven't stopped them recently.
They'll hand it off. Rapati rushing it left side, stretched out wide to the left, and this time flushed out and taken down. Jeremy Robinson with great pursuit off the edge. He'll gain just a couple, but based on what they've been averaging, that's an excellent contain by the Kansas defense.
Yeah, Kansas defensively just have to lock in and not give up that, mid-range play of 10 yards where BYU has been able to move the sticks. Yeah, they're getting up on our linebackers pretty effectively as Cornell Wheeler got tied up with an offensive guard that was able to push him out of the way.
2nd down and 8 for BYU. Ropati motions wide to the right. They throw it short to the tight end to the left near the sideline. Kobe Bryant's right there and drags him down after a small pickup of maybe 3.5, 4 yards. It's going to be 3rd and 4 for BYU, and the Cougars are 2 for 4 on 3rd downs today.
Yeah, and good job by Kobe Bryant, first of all, to not allow the receiver any extra yards, yak yards, and Now Kansas has a great opportunity, maybe 4-down territory, but still an opportunity to get off the field or force a fourth down try right here.
This would be huge for the Kansas defense. We're tied at 10 apiece, 11:22 to go here in the third quarter. They will hand it off, rush it straight forward, and get that first. Cornell Wheeler on the stop, but not before 4 more yards for Hinckley Rapati. He's got the first down, and once again, BYU up front in the trenches, winning the wars. That's their third down on this drive, and they're doing it exclusively on the ground.
Yeah, they're really attacking our linebackers, Brandon McAnderson, right in the A and B gaps and getting a little push on us.
Yeah, I think the bigger deal is we've been so good with our defensive tackles getting hands on running backs. Not happening today.
2 receivers wide to the right. Martin back in at running back on the left tip of Retzlaff. Rolls to the right, plants, fires, caught, juggled, and a great tackle in the open field. Terrific job by Reich to pull down the tight end, Tasse. And let's see if they give him forward progress for a yard. He wound up 6 yards behind the line of scrimmage, but it'll be a gain of 1. But Reich with a terrific takedown. 2nd and 9 coming up.
Yeah, the tight end put it in one hand as he tried to elude Reich. And, boy, it could have been a fumble out there. But Reich, good job attacking the tight end instantly after the grab.
2nd and 9. They've already taken 5 minutes off the third quarter clock, have the Cougars. Ball at midfield, handoff, Martin hit hard right at the line of scrimmage. Cornell Wheeler with a big-time stop. No gain on the carry. It's 3rd and 9 for BYU.
That time, they didn't beat the linebackers. Cornell Wheeler, the hit of the game, just coming over and tacking right at the line of scrimmage as he plays downhill and plays off and really avoids the block by the offensive tackle. Came up and made the big hit.
First down would come at the Kansas 41. 3rd down and 9. They are 3 of 5 on 3rd down conversions today. This one of their longest attempts, though. Retzlaff, option play, pitches back to Martin. Can he get to the stick? Sprinting down the right sideline, hit just shy. It was Taylor Davis who forced him out of bounds, a yard shy of the first. BYU likely in 4-down territory here. Let's wait till they put the ball down. It's maybe 18 inches shy, so half a yard shy of the sticks, and the offense is staying out on the field.
Yeah, they ran sprint option, and there's nobody out there for the pitch man. Kansas fortunate that they were able to react up as soon as they were able to, but a great opportunity for a momentum-changing play right here.
First 4th down conversion of the day for BYU. 4th and less than a yard. Handoff, Martin hit behind the line, but scrambles forward, keeps the legs churning, and picks up 3 yards. Kansas had a chance at him, but Martin a load to bring down at 235 pounds, and they convert on 4th down to move the chains. David, this drive has taken half of the third quarter, and BYU's only to the 40-yard line. They've been getting it in small chunks, really death by 1,000 paper cuts.
It's a fast-moving game overall, so the team that wins is, that's ahead at the end of the game is going to feel fortunate that there hasn't been stoppages. The clock has been running freely.
Retzlaff claps his hands. It's a play-action drop back. 5-step drop. Now steps up in the pocket. He's hit and he's dropped. Dylan Woodkey was there. Sacks him down for a loss of 2. Excellent coverage by the Kansas secondary. And Woodkey dropped the hammer.
Yeah, Woodkey was playing outside of the left tackle. And as soon as Retzlaff started going up in the pocket, Woodkey got rid of that offensive tackle immediately, threw him down, and made the tackle for the sack.
This drive is approaching 8 minutes in length. 2nd and 12 coming up. We're more than halfway through this third quarter. Kansas has yet to touch the football in a 10-10 tie here in the second half. Kansas bringing safety blitz. Retzlaff throws, slant, caught at the 28-yard line. They've got the first down and more. It's Keelan Marion, and he's all the way down to the 24-yard line. BYU, this could be a 10 or 12-minute drive. Kansas may not get the ball back until inside of 5 minutes here in the third quarter.
Yeah, Kansas brought safety blitz off the wrong side. BYU went to the right.
High snap, Retzlaff catches, keeps, QB scamper, and it's going to be a tackle by Marvin Grant after a gain of just 2. So 2nd and 8 coming up. On this methodical drive, they've rarely been ahead of schedule after first down, but they found ways, in one case on 4 downs, to just keep on moving those chains.
Yeah, key 3rd down pickups for BYU, 1 on 4th down. And again, maybe the story of the game for them on why they're effective offensively is L.J. Martin is able to pick up some tough yards in between the tackles and cause some missed tackles on the Kansas defense.
This has been a 9-minute drive, 5 first downs on the drive. They've got 3 backs in triangular formation around the quarterback, 2 receivers. Fake the handoff, option play. They pitch to Martin. Kansas is there, and he's escorted out of bounds at the 19-yard line. Taylor Davis on the stop. They're going to now say his foot was out at the 20. So he only gains a yard that time, and it's 3rd down and 6 for BYU. Clock continues to roll down to 5:40 to go here in the 3rd.
Yeah, Kansas destroyed that play. I mean, they had the lead rusher, and then they also attacked the quarterback and then the pitch man. So they defended that option, that triple option into the sideline as well as you can. But now to get off the field, they've got to come up with a stop.
Would love to hold them to a Will Ferrin field goal. From this distance, it'd be a 37-yarder. Option play. They're not going to get there. QB kept it in Retzlaff, and he stopped 4 yards shy. Jeremy Robinson wraps him up. So now it's either 4th and about 3.5 as they put the ball down, or you kick what would be a 34-yard field goal. For the moment, the offense is staying out there. What a gamble this would be for Kalani Sitake.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to go for it. I'm glad. What a way to steal all the momentum back. What a downer it would be to run so much time off the clock and be so effective in getting the ball down the field. And they're against the play clock right now.
Play clock at 6 seconds, game clock at 4:35, and now they have to burn a timeout. They were late in getting their personnel out onto the field, and with the play clock dripping down to 5 seconds, Kalani Sitake with the timeout taken. But guys, this has taken nearly 11 minutes, this drive has. We're at the 4:34 mark, and we'll see if they still want to go for it at 4th and 3, or if they bring in a tried and true kicker like Will Ferrin. They're going to take a TV timeout because, well, we haven't had any stoppages and the quarter's almost over, so we'll take it with them. 4:34 to go, 3rd quarter action, 10-10, and a crucial 4th down decision for BYU when we return on the Equity Bank Jayhawks Sports Network from Learfield.
At Shelter Insurance, we believe insurance should adjust to fit your needs. That's why our agents work with you to design an auto, home, and life insurance plan that's particular to you. Insurance that fits just right. And Shelter is known for our award-winning customer service, satisfied customers, and a plan for you. Isn't it time to check Shelter out? Find an agent near you at shelterinsurance.com. We're your shield. We're your shelter.
KU football lives here. This is Kansas Jayhawk football from Learfield.
When might you be buzzed? When you suddenly love everything.
You guys, I love this song. I love these nachos. I love our kickball league. Ugh! I love this guy. What's your name? You know what I'd love? A ride when it's time to head out.
If you see a buzzed warning sign, call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
I love your car. Is this real leather?
When you're high, you feel different. You think different, you talk different, you draw different, you listen to music different, but you probably knew that. Problem is, you also drive different, and not in a good way. That's why driving high is illegal everywhere. So if you're high, just don't drive. Make a plan to get a sober ride. Because if you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Provo, Utah. What will Kalani Sitake do here? And BYU in the midst of a drive that has amassed almost 11 minutes. And this is the opening possession of the 3rd quarter. So KU will eventually get the ball back with the bulk of the quarter gone. Will they be down 3? Will they be down 7? Will it still be tied? A lot of it rides on this initial decision of do you go for it, David, or do you kick?
They're going to kick. So Kansas, the worst they can do is down 3. So I think it's a win. Even if he makes it, it'll put him in the lead. But, they occupy the clock. You get it back with an opportunity to go ahead, and that's if he makes it. Sometimes there's more pressure on kickers after you drive the field for 11 minutes. And you feel more pressure is mounting on your shoulders that you've got to get this through the uprights.
He's 8 of 9 from this distance on the season. A 35-yarder between the hashes. Good snap, good hold, plenty of leg. And the kick is true. He got it. BYU back in front, 13-10 on a drive that officially takes 10.5 minutes. A 35-yard field goal by Will Farron. What is now his second make of the day. For a guy that had 2 field goal makes in Lawrence, he's been outstanding throughout his BYU career. He puts the Cougars on top following a 17-play drive to go 66 yards. Crimson and Blue Tuesdays are back at the KU Bookstore. Score 20% off apparel and gifts each Tuesday at the KU Bookstore locations and online at kubookstore.com. 13-10 BYU. It's gotten late early in this ball game, even though it's really late back home. 4:30 to go in the third, and KU's going to get to touch the ball for the first time offensively here in the second half when we return. 13-10 BYU on the Jayhawks Sports Network from Learfield.
People just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like to check that your seats aren't in the visitor section first before buying tickets.
I'm so excited for this game. I can't believe you got us tickets.
Me too. Wait, are we on the wrong side?
Yeah, checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds.
This is going to be a long game.
You're in good hands with Allstate.
Savings vary. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Hi, we're your friends who get super excited about the holidays.
We sure are, or this isn't the ugliest holiday sweater ever.
People think we're happy because we love peppermint lattes.
Or catching snowflakes on our tongues.
But really, it's because
it's Holiday Millionaire Raffle season.
It's your best odds to win $1 million.
That's dollars, not twinkling lights, but that would be great too.
Play the Kansas Lottery Holiday Millionaire Raffle. Get excited.
See kslottery.com for details.
The Kansas Jayhawks are proud to partner with the Drive to Zero Coalition, who invites you to join Jayhawk fans with a plan. It's simple. If you're going to be drinking, hop on SafeRock, use your favorite rideshare app, or plan ahead for your designated driver. True Blue Jayhawks don't drink and drive. Together, KU fans with a plan can prevent serious crash injuries and fatalities. This message is brought to you by the Kansas Department of Transportation and all the victims of impaired driving crashes.
This is Harrison Hill, and you're listening to Kansas Jayhawk football on the Jayhawk Sports Network.
4:30 to go in the third quarter, and KU will just now be getting their first possession of the second half, now trailing 13-10. Brandon McAnderson, how about a couple of injury updates? We've seen Logan Brown return, but what's he playing with and playing through? And then what's the updated status on LJ Arnold?
Yeah, so for Logan, looks like right knee and right ankle. Knee bothering him less. Right ankle, it looks like they just taped over an air cast, so it's a pretty big apparatus, but he's came back pretty strong. LJ came out without his shoulder pads, but was moving well. So I'm optimistic that he'll be able to, be fairly healthy throughout the season, but is definitely out for the game.
Yeah, out for the rest of the day. It's been exclusively, Trevor Wilson and Doug Emillion ever since he went down with that lower back or hip issue. He's not the only guy a little bit sore right now. There's one that's pretty important on that BYU sideline that's been in obvious pain, David. I want to have you talk about Jake Retzloff, their quarterback, after this kickoff from Farron. The 13-10 BYU lead. It's a shorter kick. Wilson comes up on it, but takes the fair catch. The Hawks' first 2 drives began at the 16 and 17, and they've decided, hey, let's just take the 25. Tell me about Retzloff. He's not been especially effective or precise with his passes tonight, but there may be a reason why.
Well, his left shoulder is in a lot of pain, and he's a right-hander, but and they have had him run in the second half, so they're not fearful that this will cause him to come out, but it's certainly something to keep an eye on, and why we need to be very physical with the quarterback, Retzlaff, moving forward.
And one of his misfires was a missed opportunity for Kansas on the first play of that drive, a drive that took 10 and a half minutes off the clock. Cornell Wheeler had a tip, and Mello Dotson nearly had a pick. What ensued was 15 additional plays and ultimately 3 points, but Kansas was oh so close to back-to-back interceptions by Mello Dotson. We've got another timeout on the field as the TV networks have to catch up after that 10-and-a-half-minute drive. So 4:30 to go, third quarter, 13-10 BYU on the Equity Bank Jayhawks Sports Network from Learfield.
Some days you hit snooze, but not today. St. Louis, Missouri.
The Jayhawks play here.
A blindside blitz and a takedown.
This is Kansas Jayhawk football from Learfield.
No matter your level of play, LMH Health and Ortho Kansas provide championship care to all members of the Lawrence community and beyond. Our experts in sports medicine and orthopedic care have partnered on the field with athletes for more than 45 years, providing innovative treatments and therapies for athletes of all ages. Call us at 785-843-9125 or visit lmh.org/orthokansas to learn more. LMH Health, a partner for lifelong health.
Hey Jayhawk fans, it's Coach Leifel. Here at Kansas Athletics, we know success isn't accomplished alone. It's all about team. That's why we are proud to team up with Meritrust Credit Union, the official financial well-being partner of Kansas Athletics. Team Meritrust knows that every play matters and every moment leads to a winning game plan. They have the resources you need to save, spend, borrow, and plan along your financial journey. Stop by a Meritrust location today or visit meritrustcu.org.
Welcome back to Provo, Utah. Thanks for staying up late with us tonight. Big 12 football after dark, and we've got a good one. Maybe not action-packed or high-scoring, but it's neck and neck. 13-10, BYU leading Kansas after a 10-and-a-half-minute drive that resulted in a field goal. David Lawrence leaving Arrowhead last week. Kansas hung 45 on an ISU defense that only allows 15.5 a game. The offense was humming. We've not seen that tonight ever since their opening drive resulted in 7. What's got to change here on their first possession of the third quarter?
Well, you just have to continue being turnover savvy and not give the ball up. But yeah, I would go back to what got you that first touchdown, the only touchdown they've scored, and that's rushing the football with Devin Neal and Daniel Highshaw. Mix in some options with Jalen Daniels and open up the passing game using that rushing attack. And this game, how much does it impact college football? I mean, this will be the lead story should Kansas find a way to beat BYU.
Highshaw just 1 carry for 1 yard tonight. Neal 7 carries for 33. They start out on the ground with Devin, weaving around between the hashes. He gets 7 tough yards on first down, diving forward across the 31 to the 32.
Yeah, point, there's a reason right there. And that's how we started out the game, did we not? Because Devin Neal is going to get everything that's there, and he's going to find a way to get a little extra. And it might be a move that gets him an explosive play. So you don't have anything to lose handing the ball off to number 4.
Harrison Taggart with the tackle, his 5th to lead the team. 2nd and 3, JD fakes an option, now rolls to the right, steps up in the pocket. He's going to tuck and run, slides, and they give him a bad spot. Of course, it's where you start to descend where they call you down, but I thought his slide attempt was further downfield. They're going to say he's about a foot shy of the distance to go.
I don't know if they can review that. It should be a makeable distance. You certainly wouldn't want to try a 4th down if you don't. But his motion of sliding took a while, and they really kind of penalize quarterbacks that get afforded that protection.
I mean, it's close enough to sneak here, but they're lining up in the gun on 3rd and a foot. Handoff, Devin Neal waits on blocking, picks up the first. He was taken down by his own blocker, and then that blocker wound up on top of him as Michael Ford collapsed on top of Devin Neal, but he's no worse for the wear. KU gets the first down. And the clock continues to move inside of 3 minutes to go in this third quarter. Kansas trailing by 3.
Yeah, replay shows it was a bad spot on the slide, but Kansas picks it up, and it's kind of the new era on how to pick up third and short. You line up in the gun, right?
Right.
5 yards back. Oh, in the old days, you'd be right under that center's behind.
It was just KU's second third down conversion of the game at 5 attempts. JD fakes a handoff. It's going to keep, but a great open field tackle is made. He's pulled down for a loss all the way back near the 33-yard line. Raider DeMooney on that takedown. A tackle for loss of 3, and Kansas well behind schedule, 2nd and 13.
Yeah, JD was running lateral. That's a mistake. You got to get up the field. Get whatever you can. As soon as he started moving lateral, he was done for, because the defense can come in and make that play. So Kansas is certainly behind schedule, needs to make it up for it right here.
Through the air. They look to Grimm, left side, caught with running room in front to the 45, to the 50. Angles out of bounds just inside BYU territory at the 48-yard line. Get number 11 back involved. Now 3 catches for more than 60 yards for the Grim Reaper.
How does number 11, our leading receiver, go unnoticed and unguarded? I saw that immediately as no one travels. There should have been a safety going out there. There's an outside linebacker that was behind. That was Glasgow that tried, but he was too late. There should have been a safety move over and try to cover Grimm, but didn't go.
Neal and Highshaw both in the game. Neither will get the ball on a handoff. They're going to pass it right side, overthrown. Boy, he had Trevor Cardell, but the pass sailed on Jalen Daniels, who had been 8 of 12 through the air. And it's going to be 2nd and 10 now on the 48-yard line of BYU. 1:07 to go in the third.
Yeah, Coach Grimes obviously sees some things in the secondary that he feels like his chances are good, because he doesn't seem to, give it to Neal with that regular shot on first down that's been so effective, but he's been effective throwing the ball.
They hand it off. Highshaw, second carry of the day. A small hole closes quickly, and he gains just 2. It's going to be 3rd and 8 for Kansas. Ball on the 46-yard line of BYU, and now this crowd, officially of 62,000 tonight, comes to their feet.
Well, this is going to be 4 down territory unless you get nothing. If you get anything, I definitely think the answer, because you're not going to be able to kick a field goal, so you'd only be punting for defensive field position. Let's see if we elect to run it and get closer or to pass the ball down the field.
4 receivers set, including Jared Casey. They throw short. Caught by Casey. He's got the first down. Angles out of bounds near the 32-yard line. Casey curled back for the ball, then cut upfield, and Kansas rips off 13 and a first.
Yeah, and that's why Coach Grimes likes passing the ball, because he likes the matchup he's getting out there. Casey goes in motion and is going to line up and just kind of stop. The safety continues down the field, and JD finds him on the checkdowns and delivers the timely pass. Great way to finish the quarter as you're getting close to the red zone, trailing by 3.
Again, this is just their first possession of the second half. They may only possess it twice all half at this rate, the way these two teams have chewed up clock. So imperative cap the drive with a touchdown. Kansas will head to the 4th, trailing 13-10. They've got a first down. They're in business at the 32-yard line of BYU. You're listening to Kansas Jayhawk football, and we'd like to thank Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas, proud to be the trusted choice of more Kansans than anyone else. Shop Blue, Kansas. Visit bcbsks.com. And when you're out of town and want to keep up with live college sports, be sure to download the free Varsity Network app, available for both Apple and Android. Listen to college sports live with the Varsity Network app. Put 4 fingers in the air and let's head to the 4th quarter. 13-10. BYU try to stay perfect. Kansas trying to play the role of spoiler. We got a great one in the mountains here tonight of Provo, Utah, on the Jayhawk Sports Network from Learfield.
people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like to check that your seats aren't in the visitor section first, before buying tickets.
I'm so excited for this game. I can't believe you got us tickets.
Me too. Wait, are we on the wrong side?
Yeah, checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds.
This is going to be a long game.
You're in good hands with Allstate.
Savings vary, subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Wave the wheat. This is Kansas Jayhawk football from Learfield.
As veterans, we're no strangers to helping others.
That's what we were taught, service before self.
But we do have one question for the veterans listening.
When was the last time you reached out for help?
If you or someone you know needs resources, whether it's for stress, finances, employment, or mental health, don't wait. Reach out.
Find more information at va.gov/reach. That's va.gov/reach.
Brought to you by the United States Department of Veterans Affairs and the Ad Council.
Are you prepared for an emergency or disaster? Because it's not a matter of if, but when. Don't find yourself saying,
I'll trust water bottles and a flashlight to save the day, but I'll be proved wrong.
With a tornado approaching, I'll realize that I like a wheelchair-accessible shelter.
When the floodwaters rise, I'll be up in the attic with 20 cans of beans. It's a recipe for disaster.
Let's prepare so we all have a better story to tell. Get started at ready.gov/older adults. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
13-10, BYU leading Kansas, but the Jayhawks on the move on the 32-yard line of the Cougars to start up the fourth quarter. Jayhawks with 212 yards of total offense, BYU 266. Brandon McAnderson, let's get you back in on the conversation. What have you noticed of the Jayhawks on this drive, and what must they continue to do to cap it with 6?
Coach Grimes has liked throwing on first down, but as the field compresses, I expect them to run on first down. The music, the hype, Kansas is tapped in. I'm excited to see how they answer the bell.
How would you describe what we just saw on the field, B-Mac? The lights are turned out, and we had some pretty special fourth quarter entertainment.
Yeah, it looked like Tongan cultural dances. The crowd was hyped. Really beautiful game day atmosphere here at BYU.
More pyrotechnics and all 62,000 going nuts. David Lawrence, Kansas obviously has had some fourth quarters not go their way en route to 3 and 6. But boy, a lot could be forgiven and forgotten if you win this fourth. What's it going to take beginning the quarter down 3?
I'll be simple. Don't turn the ball over and then find a way to win. I think find a way to get another turnover. I think they'll run the ball here.
Instead, they sling it out to Neal in the right flat. He tries to make a man miss, stays upright, and will pick up 1, maybe a yard and a half, but that's it. BYU snuffs out that play quickly. It'll be 2nd and long for Kansas.
Yeah, I think, having your best player essentially go in motion and getting out wide, that's going to draw a lot of attention. So as soon as he goes out there, Glasgow, that great linebacker, he follows him. And Glasker's not going to miss many tackles, even on Neal.
Devin lines up as a receiver wide right, now comes in motion. They fake the handoff. Daniel's going to throw. It's tipped and nearly picked. BYU nearly had an interception. Boy, it was right there for Isaiah Glasgow. Got both hands on it, but couldn't squeeze it. And now it's 3rd and 9 for Kansas.
Yeah, he's a different type of obstacle to throw the ball over. He's 6'5", and he's got long arms, a lot of length. So even though you're facing this 3rd down, be grateful. We're fortunate, as Glasgow many times will come down with that, and they'll have that possession. So still an opportunity, 3rd and 9.
KU 4th in America in 3rd down conversions. They're 3 of 7 tonight. Daniels, deep drop, 8 steps deep, now steps up in the pocket. He's got a sprint to try to get free. He will not. He's sacked all the way back at the 36-yard line, and that takes you nearly out of field goal range as well. Could not afford to backpedal that much. Got to get rid of the ball, and now you're staring down the barrel at a 53-yarder to tie the game.
Yeah, I don't think you go with that. So you're gonna try to convert on 4th down, right? Come up with a play, and this is the kind of play that can make or break this game. It's one of the few mistakes that Jalen has made was right there. I think you outlined it. If you're going to, retreat that much, your internal timer has to go off, and you got to throw the ball down the field. I think KU's going to call a timeout.
This is where you really miss L.J. Arnold, who went down with that first quarter lower back or hip injury, and has been out ever since. As BMAC reported, came out without his shoulder pads. He's out for the game. Trevor Wilson in his stead. Kansas will have a chance to think this over. What do you have in the 4th and 13 section of your playbook?
Yeah, it can be a mid-range pass, right? But it can't be underneath the sticks. You've got to get the ball at least. You can't count on more than 1 or 2 yards after the catch. So you got to throw the ball at least 12 yards down the field.
2:40 on the timeout break here, so why don't we take it while we still have a chance. 13:32 to go in the ball game. Jayhawks trailing by 3. A crucial 4th and 13 when we come back on the Jayhawks Sports Network from Learfield.
This is Kansas Insurance Commissioner Vicki Schmidt. Success on game day starts with doing your homework. Investing is no different. That's why you should visit smartinvestks.com, an investor empowerment initiative from the Kansas Insurance Department. Whether you are just coming off the bench or are a seasoned pro, smartinvestks.com is here to coach you on how to avoid investment fraud by chalking up the offensive and defensive X's and O's. Have a game plan before you invest. Visit smartinvestks.com. That's smartinvestks.com.
Just like Lance Leipold and his coaching staff place their best players in the right positions for success, so does the Brush Group. With our multi-company marketing team of Sun Graphics, Dunleavy Litho, and Brush Art Corporation. Sun Graphics is the proud printing partner of Kansas Athletics and is known for marketing support that is nothing short of exceptional. Make sure you're scoring a touchdown with all your marketing efforts by contacting Sun Graphics today. Proud sponsor of Kansas Athletics.
I love watching my child grow through football, learning values and life skills that extend beyond the playing field. Now, there are more ways to play than ever before, from flag to tackle and beyond, with opportunities for boys and girls at any age. To find the right team, explore FutureForFootball.com's new League Locator tool and explore nearby leagues. It's never been easier to get your family involved in the game.
Hi, this is David James, and you're listening to Kansas Jayhawk Football on the Jayhawk Sports Network.
Welcome back to Provo, Utah. Kansas trailing 13-10 with 13:32 to go. The Jayhawks forced with a difficult decision here. What do you do on 4th and 13? The ball's on the 36-yard line of BYU. It's a 53-yard field goal if you kick it. It's a minuscule chance at a conversion if you go for it. Or you could try to punt to pin them inside the 10, trust your defense, but defense has had a hard time getting off the field tonight. So they're going to go for it offensively. David, you said of paramount importance, throwing past the sticks. We've seen this team have drives in because they threw short of the distance to go earlier in the season. That cannot happen here, and you can't fear an interception either. You got to lay it all on the line.
Yeah, no worries about the pick. So instead of the checkdowns, go ahead and put it up for grabs down the middle. Punt.
JD's going to punt it. A surprise pooch punt, and it hits somebody. Now fumbled by BYU. KU's got it. Quentin Skinner for the moment has the football, but did it hit Skinner first and not a Cougar? They huddle up and will make a decision. Who did it hit first? Skinner sprinting down in punt coverage or a BYU Cougar? If it hit the Cougar in the helmet, it's going to be KU ball at the 3-yard line. We look at the replay, and I think it hit the Cougar. Quentin Skinner, Johnny on the spot, and that could not have been a more perfect pooch punt by Jalen Daniels.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the discussion is all about. It's pretty clear that it went off the top of the Cougar helmet. It was a punt from the line of scrimmage. So what's being involved with this?
Evan Johnson is the Cougar that we believe it hit the helmet of, in which case it's a live ball recovered by Skinner. We look at the slow motion frame-by-frame replay. They were running stride for stride, and it definitely hit Johnson, the Cougar, not Skinner. But you can see why they want to make sure they get this right.
Is that the kick was touched by the receiving team and recovered by the kicking team. First down, Kansas.
There you go.
So they just wanted to make sure they talked to the people upstairs to make sure that Skinner didn't hit it first. And after declaring that was the case, so now Kansas basically is up 2-0 in turnovers. Mentioned that's the most important thing, and it probably is going to be turnover sound. We got away with one, and we found a way to come up with a play in a different kind of way on fourth down. Now just get it in from the 3.
It was Jacob Johnson that tried to recover it but fumbled it forward, and Skinner on the recovery. First and goal from the 3. Daniels in the pistol, takes the snap, gives to Neal, weaves his way to the goal line. Touchdown, Kansas! Touchdown, Devin Neal. The Kansas Jayhawks surge in front with 13:19 to play.
Yeah, it was Jared Casey in motion, going across the formation, blocking out the outside linebacker, and then the center, Foster, takes over. Kobe Baines, Logan Brown paved the way. Devin Neal, and how about the luck factor now? It looks like Kansas is in control of that.
It was a popular tweet throughout the week about the rating of luck. Extra point here by Tabor Allen is up, and it is true. It's a metric system that some folks actually track. And, you know, how they get to this exact theorem, there's a lot of complicated measures, including number of one-score games that you're winning, plays that bounce your way late, all of that. But the luckiest team in America through 9 games was rated to be BYU, number 1 in the nation. The unluckiest team in America was rated to be Kansas at 134. And you add it all up right now, and a pooch punt off the back of a BYU helmet sure feels like a fortuitous hop for the Kansas Jayhawks. So however in the world they come up with that theorem, KU's luck just got a little bit better here in Provo tonight. We will absolutely take it.
And a great call. I mean, one of the reasons why you do a pooch punt is because they work on special teams. Every team in America works on special teams. They don't work on pooch punts because they don't see them. It would be hard for them to even work on that play in special teams period. So you're not used to doing that. You don't have the same personnel in. You got your defenders out there, and you got a safety that's just kind of running blindly, not exactly sure what's going on, and he runs under the punt, and it caroms off his helmet. We recover, we score, and Kansas takes the lead.
It's teamrankings.com that has that luck ratings metric. Great website for a lot of resources, a lot of inside numbers, and KU's luck may be on the climb. Here comes a returnable kickoff off the foot of Tabor Allen. They make one Jayhawk miss, now a second. It's a cutback and all the way up to the 33-yard line. They'll ultimately take it with Keelan Marion. He does a nice job in kick return. They do have 2 kickoff return touchdowns this year, but thankfully Jalen Todd cleaned up the mess after a couple of missed tackles. A good starting field position for BYU at their own 33 with Kansas now in front. 17-13 following that 3-yard plunge by Devin Neal.
Yeah, my 2 biggest keys was, turnovers, 1, and 2, special teams. So far, Kansas has not really given up a special teams play that hurts them, and they need to continue to be solid in that area.
Drive begins on the 33. Retzloff throws short and wobbly and incomplete. Quite frankly, not close. He was looking in the direction that time of Lassiter, and the ball skipped about 8 yards in front of him.
Yeah, and he's got some guys in front of him as Retzloff goes 6'1", which means, he's probably 6 foot. Etienne, the left tackle, is 6'8". The left guard is 6'4". And it looks like, maybe the height factor had something to do with that, or his left shoulder that we think could be injured, causing him problems in follow-through with his right arm.
4 receivers set on 2nd and 10. High snap, hands it off to Martin, but Kansas right there. Dylan Woodkey again. What a ball game he's had. A tackle for loss early, and right here he holds Martin to just a single yard. 3rd and 9 coming up.
Yeah, what an opportunity after being on the field for over 10 minutes of getting off the field and 3 and out. But you got to come up with a play right here. Let's see if Brian Borland decides to bring someone off of the edge. We've been so effective with Marvin Grant coming off the edge.
First down would come at the 43-yard line. The Cougars are 3 for 7 on third down. KU jumped across. We wait on a flag. They step up. Hit as he throws his Retzloff. Caught, then fumbled. KU's got it. And they're going to blow the play dead. Incomplete. And no penalty flag ever came in, which is why you're hearing boos right now from 62,000 Cougar fans. It looked like KU jumped off sides. And then a massive hit.
Timeout, an injury.
And we've got an injury timeout, as that time there was a big-time stick in the Kansas secondary that leaves the Cougars walking wounded. And right now the team trainer on the field tending to Keanu Hill.
What a great job by Marvin Grant. And B-Mac could probably see it better than I could. He turned and made sure he hit him with his shoulder. Because
yes, he did.
It was an unsuspecting, unprotected player, but you can still hit him with your shoulder. You just, they'll call anything for targeting more often if you got a receiver in that spot. And was there reason to believe that Blake Harold was in the neutral zone?
He definitely jumped. I don't know if he was in the neutral zone.
But that doesn't get reviewed. So, again, luck factor, Kansas could have caught a break.
The winds are changing in Provo amidst the Wasatch Mountains, and the fortune of Kansas is on the climb. Meanwhile, the locals here not pleased with this officiating crew and referee David Alvarez. A cascade of boos ringing down from the tops of the bleachers here at Lavelle Edwards Stadium, named after their long-tenured and Hall of Fame head coach. Luke Grimm deep to return, back at the 23-yard line. They'll punt it away with Sam Vanderhaar. Rarely seen him tonight. Rushes to the right, kicks it high in the air. Grimm's going to bring it out. Caught at the 23-yard line. He spun across the 25 near the 26. And a rare return these days and a lot of fair catches. Kansas gets 3 extra yards, and the BYU fans just start booing again.
Yeah, and very likely could have Kansas got away with an offsides that would have given BYU not a first down, but 5 yards and a chance to have another play. But Kansas takes over. They can't play safe. Certainly Jeff Grimes knows that way better than I do. You can't count on anything. You got to be aggressive and try to get up 2 scores.
This will be just the Jayhawks' second possession of this second half, and it starts with 12 minutes to go in the ball game. They got the ball and a 4-point lead. 17-13 Kansas. Can the Jayhawks close them out down the stretch? We'll step aside for a timeout, come back with the final 12:09 right after this on the Equity Bank Jayhawks Sports Network from Learfield.
For generations, hard-working people have relied on Ford F-Series trucks to help grow businesses, communities, families. A legacy of capability and technology that has made Ford F-Series America's best-selling trucks 47 years straight. This is the next generation of Built Ford Tough. Based on 1977 to 2023 calendar year total sales.
Kansas Jayhawk football lives here.
Chalk it up, the Jayhawks win.
This is Kansas Jayhawk football from Learfield.
The Jayhawks have been lighting up scoreboards. Well, since scoreboards were invented. And Shirley Signs has been lighting up the Midwest and shipping signs nationwide since 1972. With 2 locations, Shirley Signs can help you with any location in Kansas. From channel letters to awnings and everything in between. Multiple locations? No problem. Check out www.shirleysigns.com or call 1-800-779-7446.
LMH Health is pleased to announce that the Ortho Kansas team has earned another clinical milestone, the Joint Commission's Gold Seal of Approval for Advanced Total Hip and Knee Replacement Certification. The certification recognizes the highest standards of care during a total hip and total knee replacement, and LMH is one of 2 Kansas hospitals to earn this honor. Get to know the Ortho Kansas team by visiting lmh.org/Ortho Kansas. Ready to schedule an appointment? Give them a call at 785-843-9125. LMH Health, a partner for lifelong health.
Welcome back to Provo, Utah, Lavelle Edwards Stadium. Official attendance tonight, 62,704 fans. And right now, they're a little uneasy. They're not liking the current predicament they find themselves in. 17-13 Kansas. Jayhawks with the lead and the ball with 12:09 to play. Devin Neal has 2 touchdowns tonight, but not a ton of activity. 10 carries, 46 yards. Now's his time to be a finisher. So many times this season, 5 of them to be exact, KU's had fourth quarter leads and lost them. Now you have a chance to play from out in front and really separate while shortening this game if you can give the ball to Devin Neal and turn him loose.
Yeah, Kansas needs another score, at least 3 points, but let's be aggressive. Let's get another touchdown.
And they're going to pass on first down. Rolling right is Jalen Daniels. He's in trouble. Steps up, and he'll be stretched out and fights hard to get back to the line of scrimmage. So at least you keep the clock moving, but no gain on the play.
Yeah.
And 2nd and 10 will be the scenario. Thankfully, he was able to protect the football there. Obviously, we all remember the costly fumble when he was fighting for an extra yard in Manhattan a few weeks ago.
Yeah, actually, the ball was extended from his body, so I was nervous on that. So, yeah, we got to continue. Again, 0 turnovers, we win this game. Because we're basically up 2 right now.
They will hand it off, and Highshaw stood up immediately. It was a run blitz scheme, and he's taken down for a loss of 1. It'll be 3rd and 11. And now Kansas facing one of their longer third down conversion attempts of the night. They're 3 of 8 on third downs are the Jayhawks.
Yeah, that's certainly the worst that we've been this season, and we're going against the top-rated defense, so I guess that shouldn't be a shock right there, but Kansas has been able to scheme up. Coach Grimes has been able to draw up a lot of situations where we pass the ball down the field and we have open receivers. We need one here.
Again, no L.J. Arnold. He was injured in the first quarter. Daniels back to pass. Throws the ball off the back foot. Elevating, making that catch is Quentin Skinner. The biggest catch of his Jayhawk career. A jump ball at midfield. 1 Cougar on each hip. And Q Skin would not be denied.
And actually, it was thrown right to him. He just happened to have 3 defenders all around him. And Skinner, the inside of 3 receivers, and he just goes down, and the ball is right there. There's a safety right behind him, a linebacker in front of him. Great delivery, great concentration by Q Skin, and what a third down conversion.
The same man that got the fumble recovery on the pooch punt comes up with the biggest play of the day. Now an option pitch, and Devin Neal is going to be taken down for a loss of 4. Boy, Kansas has had 3 really bad plays on this drive and 1 heroic one of 22 yards to Quentin Skinner. It felt like a 35-yarder based on how far behind the line of scrimmage it was thrown from.
Yeah, no question about that. Man, you talk about the confidence. I don't think our quarterback's confident enough early in the season to make that throw. It was right in a tight window, but it was purposeful. It was not just, looking for blind luck. It was thrown right where he wanted it to be. And look at this, sending offensive linemen to the right.
4 linemen lined up wide to the right. They hand it off to Devin Neal, sweeping to the left, and BYU is not fooled, nor are they impressed. They'll gain a yard, and it's going to be 3rd and 13.
Yeah, I would contend that Neal's tired. I mean, look at the runs he's been on. We have, it's 1 run, but we're sending him on jet motion, on running laterally down the, so he's sprinting like 15, 20 yards on some of these plays, and he's winded. So Highshaw's coming in. That's the good news. We've got a great backup. The bad news is we're looking for another big-time play on third down.
Jayhawks average 52% on third down completions this year. They're 44% tonight. Those numbers have been climbing of late. 3rd and 12. Daniels, deep drop, pressure coming, gets rid of it. Intercepted. Did he get a foot down?
Yes.
He did. And it's an interception at the 42-yard line of BYU. We talked about Kansas playing a clean game all night up until now, but this BYU team that has at least 2 interceptions in every league game just came up with their first. It was Collins on the interception, and the Cougars down 4 will take over on their own 42.
Yeah, actually Grimm was open, and he wanted to go to Grimm. It was just underthrown, and I'm not sure what. Grimm ran, and instead of maybe JD thought he was going to sit on that, it cost Kansas about 20 yards because they were going to have to punt the ball away. So it's not like a life and death type of interception. BYU still has a pretty long field ahead of them. They'll have to score a touchdown to take the lead. A field goal, they're still trailing.
Still got to travel 58 yards, but obviously a big momentum boost. They hand off on a jet sweep, and boy, what a job breaking tackles and picking up a first down as a penalty flag comes in. That time they gave it to Keelan Marion.
Offsides Kansas, so they'll refuse this. But yeah, certainly a momentum changer. The crowd's really in it.
Number 99,
Feels like a makeup call for Blake Harold.
I'll take the one that we got. But so JD's not played a perfect game. That was underthrown, but he's played well overall. Kansas still in the driver's seat in this game. And defensively, we think about BYU with all these yards. They've scored a total of 13 points and 267 yards, so they haven't been that productive.
17-13 Kansas leads. They hand off to Martin, and he's got nowhere to run this time. And the Jayhawks right there with Burrows and Marvin Grant. They'll chop him down for a loss of 1, 2nd and 11. Nice job by the Kansas defensive front that time. And so clock moving inside of 7:45 to play, and the Jayhawks clinging to a 4-point lead.
And you got to think that Satake is going to go for it on 4th down. I don't think he's going to try to kick a field goal just to get close and give the ball back to Kansas. So they're going for a touchdown. They'll use all 4 downs to march for the 6 and not the 3.
Kansas got a takeaway at the end of the first. They got a fumble on special teams. What comes next? Here's a drop on a sidearm sling pass thrown to Marion. It was flat out dropped in the right flat. Now 3rd and 11 as the crowd of 62,000 plus starts to groan.
Got no alligators in Utah, but that was what we call alligator arms. It means Marion felt Burrows coming up on him and felt the hit. And all of a sudden his reach out was the length of an alligator arm and not his arm. So now BYU 3rd and long. Let's see what we can come up with in terms of pressure.
Cougars 3 of 9 on 3rd downs tonight. 4 receivers set. Scrambling to the left with pressure coming and overthrowing the pass is Retzloff. It is 4th and 11 now for BYU. That throw was not close. And at this spot on the field, you got to punt it away.
I agree.
And try to pin the Jayhawks deep with 7:17 to play. So now you're going to get it back with a chance to end the game if you can just possess the ball and keep moving the chains. Jayhawks have had just 2 second-half possessions. Now leading 17-13.
Those 11-minute possessions, like we saw, are not going to come very easily right now. And Kansas, has to find a way to move the ball against the defense that's going to load up the box.
High end over end punt. Luke Grimm calls for a fair catch and makes it at the 13-yard line. Well, the point is not that they would occupy the entire 7-10, but they could milk enough off of this that if you cap it with any kind of points on the other end, you've got this thing in prime position to knock off a top 10 undefeated foe on their turf. What would be one of the biggest conference road wins in the modern era of Jayhawk football. You might not think that based on prognosticators, point spreads, and all that, but the simple fact of the matter is it's only but once every decade or so you beat a top 10 team on the road, especially one that has designs on the college football playoff. 7:10 to play. Kansas leading it 17-13. Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification. You're listening to Jayhawk football. 4-point KU lead. 7:10 to go from Provo on the Equity Bank Jayhawks Sports Network from Learfield.
Some days you hit snooze, but not today. It was Missouri.
When a KU versus K-State rivalry game begins, emotions run high, legends are created, school pride hangs in the balance, memories that last a lifetime will be made, because each game is the most important game in history, at least until the next one. Get in the game with your chance to win up to $50,000. The Rivalry Riches instant ticket from the Kansas Lottery. See kslottery.com for details.
Hey Jayhawk fans, it's Coach Leipold. Here at Kansas Athletics, we know success isn't accomplished alone. It's all about team. That's why we are proud to team up with Meritrust Credit Union, the official financial well-being partner of Kansas Athletics. Team Meritrust knows that every play matters and every moment leads to a winning game plan. They have the resources you need to save, spend, borrow, and plan along your financial journey. Stop by a Meritrust location today or visit meritrustcu.org.
Hey Jayhawk fans, it's your all-time receptions leader, Kerry Meyer, and you're listening to Kansas Jayhawk football on the Jayhawk Sports Network.
7:10 to play in Provo. Kansas trying to do something they haven't done since 1995, a top 10 road victory. That was also in the Rocky Mountains. That was in Boulder, Colorado against the number 4 ranked Colorado Buffaloes. A probably top 12 ranked CU team will come calling next week. First things first, can you beat number 7 in their house?
Yeah, JD has to forget about that last pass, move forward, and figure out what we're going to do against this loaded box.
17-13 Kansas in front. They sling it out left to Luke Grimm. Makes a man miss. Still on his feet, sprinting down the left sideline. And he's up across the 22 to the 23. Nice block on the edge by Doug Emilion. And great yards after the catch for Luke Grimm.
Yeah, that was a big one. Of course, you'd rather stay in bounds, right? But Doug Emilion with a great block on the edge for Kansas to find a way. Every first down, every chunk play is going to be one major step closer to the biggest road win going back to 95, arguably.
2 receivers wide to the right. That game was of exactly 10. They hand off to Devin Neal, weaving around and finding himself 7 yards. Behind right guard, he gets it across the 34 to the, actually up to the 30-yard line, they say. So it'll be a gain of 7, 2nd and 3 coming up, and finally some daylight for Devin Neal.
Yeah, and, you know, all the analytics to the percentages of chances to win at different junctures. And every time Devin Neal gets a nice little chunk of 7 yards up the middle like that to set up a 2nd and short, you know, has to increase our percentage chances of winning this game. So let's do it, big guys up front. Pave the way.
Kansas will keep it on the ground and stretch it to the right side, fighting for maybe a yard. Devin Neal on 2nd and 3 gains just 1, so 3rd and 2 now. We're inside of 6 minutes to play, down to 5:50 and ticking. Kansas 4 for 10 on 3rd downs today. This will be a 3rd and 2.
Yeah, so I keep talking about loaded box. That means BYU has taken one of their safeties and moved them up to be an extra linebacker. So it's one extra guy to block. So the offensive line, you know, has to come up with an extra guy that they have to find a body for a body.
2 receivers wide to the left. Now Devin Neal sprints out to the left. JD runs right, hit at the 32, and he's short by a yard. Short by a yard, and now do you want to punt it away with 5 minutes to go?
Have to
trust your defense, but man, if the offense could have found a way to possess this ball with a couple of more first downs, they would have forced BYU to use all their timeouts and really be up against the wall.
Yeah, but, you know, our defense is worth trusting. They've allowed a total of 13 points and 278 yards. So not unlike last week, holding a top-tier offense down way under their averages, and they need to do it one more time.
Inside of 5 minutes to play. Kansas will milk a little additional clock here and now punt it with Greaves from back at the 20-yard line. High end over end punt. and it's going to be caught with a fair catch at the 21-yard line. KU snapped it. There's still about 25 seconds on the play clock. There was some confusion at the end of that play, David. They actually stopped the clock for about 10 seconds and then didn't set it in motion until the punter was already out there, and I'm not sure KU realized that they still had that much time on the play clock.
Oh, Kansas got a break. The returner called fair catch. He had at least 5 yards, but then 2 Kansas punt coverage personnel, they ran into each other, and there was no one there. And the BYU returner kind of slapped his helmet, thinking, oh my gosh, I could have had a lot of yards right there. So Kansas fortunate on that. They didn't get the big return.
4:47 to go. BYU has a chance, down 4. The drive begins from their own 21. Ratzlaff throws over the middle, nearly intercepted, but hauled in for a completed play. Wow. Cornell Wheeler thought he had a pick. Instead, Chase Roberts comes up with BYU's biggest catch of the day.
Yeah, we call him Nell, and Nell had great coverage on that. Reached out with his hands and got both hands on the ball, but it just went through his hands, okay? It wasn't taken away from him. The ball slipped through both of his hands.
Guys, the way this game's being managed, this is shaping up to be a decisive final drive. BYU's going to be deliberate and try to run this thing down and score to end it. We're down to inside 4 minutes to go as they snap this next play. Marion right side, and KU with a great tackle from Cornell Wheeler, who gets his revenge one play later on Keelan Marion.
Yeah.
Pulls him down, and they'll give him 3 yards on first. That's it.
Yeah, this defense is playing better as the game goes along, right? I mean, still BYU under 300 total yards and held to just 13 points total on this. And I think it'll come down to a 4th down. On this drive, Satake will not punt. So he's going to go for it on 4th down. Let's press it to get to 4th down and then make that play to win the game.
2nd and 7. Each team has 2 timeouts remaining. 3-step drop. They throw over the middle. Caught at the 50 to the 45, down to the 40-yard line. A perfect strike that time to Chase Roberts. And with that, Retzlaff delivers his best pass of the day, and now there's real life in the stands here in Provo and real belief for the home team.
Kansas, what they have going for them is they have the 4-point edge. So BYU's got to get it in the end zone. They can't just get it into field goal position like they did last week against Utah to win the game.
2:45 to go. Martin is the running back. Retzlaff, the quarterback, in the gun. Takes the snap, hands it off. Martin, all kinds of running room to the left, to the 35, to the 30. Pushed out of bounds by Marvin Grant at the 29-yard line. Nothing but green grass in front of L.J. Martin. And just like that, you're right back to the part of the field where you had 4th and 1, and it only took him 90 seconds to get all that yardage back.
Yeah, and for some reason, BYU got the edge on this. And it was a hook block they got on the edge as J-Rob was hooked by the tight end. So good job by the tight end to hook inside one of our best players to give Martin the edge.
It's going to be the final play before the 2-minute timeout. Kansas up 4 with 2:05 to go. They snap it, hand to Martin, big hole, 25-20, and he's upended down to the 15-yard line. And as the 2-minute timeout comes at the 1:57 mark, BYU is right back in the red zone. And now Kansas has to be thinking about clock management as the Jayhawks are in danger of giving up their 4-point lead and needing a miraculous final minute drive.
Well, we've seen the defense on many occasions today, and I realize in past games they haven't been able to hold it, but in this game they've stood up and kept BYU out of the end zone. They gave up chunks and they kept them out of the end zone. They'll need to do it again, or BYU is going to continue their unbeaten streak.
Will it be a 6th loss in which the Kansas Jayhawks gave up a 4th quarter lead, another loss of a final 2-minute heartbreaker, or will Kansas make it happen this time with a door-slamming shut defensive stand? Find out when we return. 1:57 to go. 17-13 Kansas, with 1st and 10 from the Jayhawk 15 for BYU. It's the Equity Bank Jayhawk Sports Network from Learfield.
The passion, the tradition, the rivalries. SiriusXM is your destination for all things college sports, and we've got you covered. On SiriusXM College Sports Radio, there's complete coverage of every major conference, including live games, plus 24/7 talk and analysis. So cheer along on the SiriusXM app and listen to your favorite team anywhere. And now you can get 3 months of SiriusXM free. Subscribe now. See offer details at SiriusXM.com/College Sports Radio 24.
Check, check, and check. That's the sound of me getting a jump start on my holiday list. But I can't take all the credit. Kohl's makes it too easy. I got my daughter a mini instant camera, my husband his favorite cologne, my sister Kookaburra by UGG slippers, and that's just the beginning. Then I got 20% off some of my other gifts. Yep, it doesn't get better than Kohl's. Select styles. Offer valid through November 23rd. Coupons do not apply to Tech, Sephora at Kohl's, and Kookaburra by UGG. Some exclusions apply. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
The Jayhawks have been lighting up scoreboards, well, since scoreboards were invented. And Shirley Signs has been lighting up the Midwest and shipping signs nationwide since 1972. With 2 locations, Shirley Signs can help you with any location in Kansas, from channel letters to awnings and everything in between. Multiple locations? No problem. Check out www.shirleysigns.com or call 1-800-779-7446.
Hi, this is 4-time Super Bowl champion Larry Brown, and you're listening to Kansas Jayhawk Football on the Jayhawk Sports Network.
We've seen this movie before. Kansas leading in the 4th, the other team charging down the stretch. Kansas unable to protect that lead. It's been a horror film that's ended the wrong way 5 times this season for Kansas. This time it has a chance to be different. And if it is, it'll be historic. A first top 10 road win since 1995, nearly 30 years. But right now, BYU has all the momentum as they've marched quickly down the field to the Kansas 15. It's 17-13 Jayhawks, 2 minutes to play, and 2 timeouts remaining for each team.
Well, Kansas has only given up 1 touchdown. They've been very good, if not excellent, defensively in the red zone, and they'll need to do it one more time. And I think this time Kansas gets it done.
Retzloff with Martin on his right hip, takes a high snap, hands to Martin. Kansas right there, but he falls forward and picks up a solid 3 on first down. Do you take your timeouts? And Leipold does here with 1:55 to go. And hey, that's not a lack of confidence in your D, it's just hedging your bets. Now, some could say you don't take the timeout because you think your guys are going to get the stop. But he wants to make sure in case they don't, you still got something to work with for Daniels and the Kansas offense.
Oh, and you also give a blow to your defense. You expend more energy defensively than you do offensively. So, yeah, I think I'm good with calling the timeouts on this.
Time of possession is dead even at essentially 29 minutes apiece for these 2 teams. BYU maybe 1 extra minute than Kansas, but has elevation at all been a factor? The defense looks gassed right now this late in the ball game. They've been on the field a lot in the second half. Does the 4,600 feet factor into that at all?
I'm not a believer in that. You know, it's 1,000 feet lower than it is at Boulder, and I never remember a game where that was a big factor.
See if they can garner a little bit of final energy here for 3 more plays. 2nd and 7 from the 12. Handoff. Martin rushing right side. Stood up again. J.B. Brown was right there for the takedown. O.J. Burrows forced him into J.B.'s waiting hands. Another timeout taken, and now it's 3rd and about 6 for BYU.
Yeah, J.B. makes a huge play for Kansas. They've done it all game. Why not do it now? Kansas has been good on 2 plays. Can they do another one? As J.B. Brown makes a tackle on the jet sweep. So you've got about 6.5 yards for BYU to get the first down. Kansas is using their timeouts, and you can bet, I would think that they have another successful play. Maybe they don't use a timeout after the next one.
They're all out of timeouts. They're all out now. So that was his final one.
Because we used it before. Yes, I remember that.
So you're in a situation now where 4-down territory, obviously, for BYU, trailing by 4, 17-13. So they got 2 plays to get 6 yards. If they do, they'll be able to milk the clock all the way down with Kansas not having a chance to stop it, and they can score to win it.
But they have to score.
But they have to score a touchdown.
It's not a field goal. They don't have the points ready to go. They've got to get into the end zone, and they're behind schedule right now at about 3rd and 6.
They don't have the points because of that end of the first half interception by Mello Dotson when they had 1st and goal on the 5, and Retzlaff lobbed one up that Mello picked off. Kansas by 4 with 1:51 to play. 3rd and 6 for BYU. Rapati is the back behind Retzlaff, who could be changing the play.
Yeah, look for some kind of quarterback run.
3 receivers set. He's going to rush to the right, pitch to Rapati. KU's there. Yeah. He's taken down. Dean Miller, Mello Dotson, and no gain on the carry. 4th and ball game coming up for BYU with 5.5 yards required to keep their perfect season alive.
Well, this is the biggest play of the season, and this is maybe the play of the day in college football as they look in on this game, staying up late to see if BYU is still going to be undefeated and ranked top 10. It all depends on this play right here.
First down would come just shy of the 5-yard line. Empty set, 5 wide receivers. Retzlaff with all kinds of motion up front. This is going to go on BYU. Should be a procedure call on the Cougars. There was all kinds of movement. The center was hesitant and snapping, but the rest of the line around him was upright and moving. We wait on word from David Alvarez, the referee.
What are they talking to Sataki about? Are they trying to give him a timeout over there?
False start. Offense, 5-yard penalty. Still 4th down.
Yeah, Sataki.
Includes a 10-second runoff.
Looked like he was trying to claim a timeout after the fact.
6 seconds, and it'll start on my signal.
How about that?
Well, now, where do the percentages lie?
10-second runoff based on the juncture of the game, so we're down to 56 ticks on the clock. It's now 4th and 10 for BYU. Again, they've got to get it down to the 5-yard line.
Biggest play of the season. Can the Kansas defense stand up again and keep him out?
Retzlaff, high snap, 5 wide, hit as he throws. It's going to be caught, but not there.
Not enough.
He stops shy. What a stop for Kansas. The Jayhawks come up clutch, and Kansas, with a turnover on downs, can kneel down from here and possibly win on the road against a top 10 team for the first time in nearly 3 decades. What a stop for the Kansas defense. The pass was there, but so was Kansas, and Marvin Grant helped save the day.
They've done it all day, all night tonight. They've stood up when BYU gets into the red zone. Borland changes defenses. They get tougher against the run, and they have stopped BYU time after time. And this one, Kansas is going to do it.
BYU has 2 timeouts left, so it's not over yet, but pretty close. Center to quarterback exchange is all you need at this point. Clean snap, clean kneel down. JD takes a couple of seconds and a couple of steps backwards to allow 4 seconds to come off the clock. Timeout comes, 42 seconds to go. Got to snap it. Do that again. They'll take their final timeout, and they get one more clean snap and kneel down, and this game will be over, and so will BYU's perfect season.
It'll be the biggest road win since 1995, going against Colorado when the Buffalo stepped on LT Levine's foot to start the game out. I mean, it's been a few, right? That goes back a few years. What a win for Kansas. And how about Borland's defense coming up huge in the red zone, BMAC, time after time tonight. They have stood the test in the red zone.
Biggest play of the game. Who shows up? Dylan Woodkey. Wins on an inside move, hits the quarterback as he releases it. Just a great game from 95.
Well, it's the end to the whole bad luck. Find a way to lose. Kansas is going to choke at the end. They don't choke at the end. The defense stands the test. We get fortunate.
Careful, JD.
Yeah, he's backing
up to the 1, and he was not going down. BYU came in for the ball, and thankfully they blew the play dead. He was trying to get the play clock and the game clock underneath 40 seconds.
BYU, the 30 final.
BYU takes their final timeout.
Seconds in length.
You're now back to the 1-yard line.
It's 4-0.
And they may give him forward progress between the 1 and the 2. It's just shy of the 2. But BYU can stop it no more. But JD was trying to milk as much as he possibly could. And in the process, BYU almost got a clean shot in on him.
Okay, you should be okay and not have to line up in a punt formation. You can also take a safety if we got to that. Taking a safety, give up 2 points if it got to that. If they have to line up in the punt formation.
3rd down at 16 from just in front of the 2-yard line, just inside of it actually on this side of the field. Kansas will try to just go straight forward down and set the clock in motion with no chance for BYU to stop it.
JD's got to move forward.
Takes the snap behind Foster, pushes forward. Devin Neal's shoving from behind as well, and that's going to be a stop at the 2-yard line. Clock cannot be stopped. And the Kansas Jayhawks are going to win this football game. The final 20 seconds will drip off the clock, and for the first time in nearly 30 years, the Kansas Jayhawks will win a top 10 road game. A top 10 takedown the size of these Wasatch Mountains. Kansas storms back to win it in Provo, 17.
They get some good fortune, heavily due to them. So we can put that to rest. Kansas has Lady Luck on her side as they continue to
toppling the top of the Big 12 standings, upsetting the apple cart.